I'm a chud, I'm a chud, I'm a fat little chud. Playing league all day until the sun comes up. I'm a chud, I'm a chud, I'm a fat little chud. Why would I get a job when I can live with my mom? I'm a chud, I'm a chud, I'm a fat little chud. I got nothing to do, so I give the food up. I'm a chud, I'm a chud, I'm a fat little chud. I can take my own meat, fill my stomach with treats. 2 seconds. I'm a chud. Yes, it's true. I mod Discord and mod Reddit too. I'm a chud. Don't you forget it. That's with my kitten and I'm going to Reddit. I'm a chud, I'm a chud, I'm a fat little chud. Oh, I'm a chud, I'm a chud, I'm a fat little chud. 2 seconds. How'd you like my Girona? Girona! Anyway, hi chat. Crazy shit happened this week. You know, you guys are gonna come with me. I need to grab I need a napkin. So, funny story, right? My stomach had been beating my ass for a little bit, right? Still don't know why. Well, I can't pinpoint it. They do. You know what? This is true. And it makes me very sad. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Like, I posted a little bit about it at Blue Sky, but like, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about it on stream anyway. Cause, you know, yeah. Like, I'm just trying to keep up the vibes here, but like one of the ways that I will keep up the vibes in here is tell you guys how I might be lactose intolerant now. Cause, okay, here's the thing. I didn't know that was something that you could just develop as you get older, right? I thought that was a thing where it's like, okay, you have it, and then you can kind of get over it, or you have it for the rest of your life. Or, you're not born with it, and then you never, ever, ever, ever have it, right? That's what I thought. I was apparently incorrect, so I don't know if I'm specifically like lactose intolerant, but skill issue, I think. Whatever, okay? Because here's the thing, right? I had pizza yesterday, and my stomach hated me, okay? Cramping up everywhere, it fucking sucks. I had cereal for breakfast the day before. Stomach hated me. I had a cheeseburger from Jack in the Box on Saturday, I think. My stomach hated me. So again, I don't know if it's lactose intolerance or if it's just like my stomach really doesn't fucking like me. So that's great. I mean, I'll still eat this shit though. Cause I am nothing if not a fat fuck. I am nothing if not a fat fucking chud. But, what else was there? Wait, hold on, I gotta test something. Give me a second. Oh, never mind. Okay, so this is the thing. This is what I wanted to test. So, I think it started yesterday. One of my teeth started getting like really sensitive to like whenever like I breathed in, right? Like the breathing in the air. Are we all fat fucking chuds? No, we are. We are, but I am the biggest chud. I am the CEO of being a fat fucking chud. Anyway, so, you know, I noticed that, you know, my tooth was being like that. I was getting like really like, it was like painful, right? So I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I go in this morning because it was just bad. It was just really fucking bad, right? Like that, it stayed for a lot longer, right? So I go in and they're trying to figure it out because I got fillings 2 weeks ago. Oh, thank you for the daily. It was like 2 weeks ago that I got the fillings, and then they come back to me after the x-rays. They're like, oh, good news, you know, your fillings are fine. And I'm like, yay, and thank you for the daily, miss. Hi. And You rat bastard. Okay, you know what? Okay, you know what? I see how it is. No, that's fine. That's fine. You don't want me to shut the fuck up? No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm fucking with you. No, it's fine. Oh yeah. So they're like, oh yeah, good news. Your feelings are fine. And I'm like, yay. I know it wasn't you. I see who it is in the chat. It fucking tells me. The chat snitches. We hammering out wars? We are. You could probably still send them on Blue Sky if you guys want, or in the Discord, and we'll look at them. But after I finish like shutting the fuck up about everything else that's happening with me, we're gonna be spending some time watching Warhammer lore videos, or maybe some Warhammer shit. Because like I just kind of want to. I know we looked at something related to Warhammer Monday. I can't believe I forgot what it was called, but we were looking at that the other day, and I was like, oh, we should do a whole stream where we look at it. But anyways, so like, yeah, good news, like your feelings are fine. I'm like, yay. They're like, well, the bad news is your tooth might be bruised, because the way you bite, you're always hitting that one tooth. That tooth is getting like the brunt of it, right? So it's probably bruised. Just use the Sensodyne toothpaste. Let us know in like 3 weeks how it is. Chat, I have never fucking had this happen. Right? Okay, like, dude, I don't know how the fuck that happened, right? Like, cause, I don't know how. I know this is one of those things where it's like, oh, it just happens. Like, it happens to everybody. But it's like, dude, like, I haven't had teeth problems for fucking years. For years, I haven't had teeth issues. The most I've had is like, oh yeah, we need you to get braces. We need to get braces because your teeth are fucked. And I was like, okay. And then I did them, and my teeth are still fucked. So I don't know if it worked. But what's it called? But yeah, it's so fucked up because it's like I have my stomach cramping when I have fucking dairy, and I don't even know if I have lactose intolerance or not. If I do, I'll cry. And I know one of my mutuals was like, oh, knowing how to draw. Beatboxing puppy, huh? But what's it called? Oh yeah. It's really fucking. That's what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. I keep losing fucking track. I know one of my mutuals was like, oh, well, there's alternatives. There's alternatives to dairy. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't fucking want that shit. That shit is ass. Sometimes it's ass. Sometimes it's good. But a lot of the times, in the times where I've had it, it's hot dog water, doggy doo-doo ass. And I don't like it. Like, I prefer my dairy, whole grown, like, made by man. I know it makes my stomach hurt. I like it. So, I mean, I have this stomach cramping issue, and I have a tooth that's being a bitch, right? So I need y'all to tell me, who the fuck made fate fuck my ass this hard? Who did it? Who bribed fate to be like, lol, here you go. Sensitive tooth, lol. Stomach cramps, lol. Gaslight you into thinking you have lactose intolerance, lol. Get fucked, get fucked, get fucked. Like, who did that? Who the fuck did that? Which one of you was it? It is not, no, I refuse. I refuse to believe that it is lactose intolerance until I get tested, which I don't know if you can actually test it, like, or go in somewhere to get it tested, but like, no, fuck you, I'm not doing that. No, I ain't adjusting for shit. I will have my dairy. I will have my ice cream. And my pizza. And my creamer with my coffee, and I will bear the consequences. And you know what? It's fine. It's fucking worth it. versus me bitching out and doing alternatives. Like, at the end of the day, it's just cramping, you know? It's not, like, too bad, but, you know. It's like, could it be worse? Yeah, but, like, still. Well, shit, I don't know, babe. You fucking married me. You gotta figure that out. The hell? What else happened today? Let me think. Sorry. So my college is interesting. My college is really interesting. So at one of the buildings that I go to all the time. So some of these buildings, if you go to any college, they usually have 2 floors, right? A lot of these buildings have 2 floors because they have to house so many students, right? This one, for some reason, so it's like an art building, okay? There's bathrooms, duh. But there's 1 women's, 1 men's on the bottom. Fine. Whatever. And then at the top, 2 women's bathrooms. Now, I'm not saying, oh my god, there need to be more bathrooms. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like for consistency's sake, if you're going to say male and female bathrooms on the bottom, then I feel like you should do men's and women's bathrooms at the top. I just feel like you should, versus just 3 different bathrooms. And otherwise, you know, if you like really have to, and I think that men's bathroom's only like 1 stall. I shit you not, from what other people have told me. It's like 1 stall in there and then the sink. Who the fuck is gonna fit in there? So good luck if you're a guy and you gotta go like do your business. You gotta go across campus to find another building that happens to have a bathroom. You know, and it's like, you know, I get the convenience of having 2 women's bathrooms at the top. Believe me, I get that. I just, you know, I just feel like that's a little inconvenient, and it just doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel fair, but it's a nitpick, if anything else, but I just thought that was really interesting. Real good. Okay. Now we can actually do Warhammer. Alright, hold on. Let me... I'll keep Blue Sky open, just in case, because people might send stuff over there. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Yeah, let me do that again, just so we can get something. Okay, and then here, and then we'll do the smaller one. The smaller one's fine. Okay, so this is one of the videos that got sent in, so we're gonna be looking at that real quick. Horse Heresy cinematic trailer. I know nothing fucking about this. I'll show you guys in a minute the memes that I do know about, because I started getting them on my TikTok feed, so you guys will get an idea of like what I've been subjected to, you know. But let's look at this real quick. Yeah, huh? Oh.
Together we banished the ignorance of old night.
Hey, man. Die.
But you betrayed me.
Oh, okay.
You betrayed us all.
Damn.
You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons.
God damn.
Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will.
God. Damn. Okay. Shit.
So let it be war.
Oh, is it doubling? Hold on, never mind, my bad. I don't know why it was doubling right there, but this is what I wanted to do. Okay. Zone 6? Yes, it is. Okay, good.
Let the seas boil. Let the stars.
Forest Heresy is a different game to 40K. Oh, okay. Completely different.
The last drop of my
But it's like in the same universe, right? Or is it like, are those like two different things?
galaxy
Like completely.
once more.
God.
And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father,
Oh, okay. So 40K said after. Got it. Well, shit, man. Nobody fucking likes you, but that doesn't mean you gotta go do this shit. Come on now. That's a little silly. Yum, yum, yum. Jorona. Okay. Well, that's what I wanted to do. Before we move on to the other one, because it's like 50 minutes long. 2 seconds. I'm going to show you the stupid fucking TikToks that I've been getting on my feed that are Warhammer related ever since I talked about it. Alright, let me see. I have it on my favorites, I think. Is this one? Well, it's that one too. Like, there's some there's a Warhammer cosplay content. There's some where it's like with the figures, because I think the figurines are cool. Oh yes, this one. Okay. This is why. Okay. This is why I was asking about the ones with the white hoods. Okay. This is why I was asking about the soldiers with the white hoods, because of this meme. Watch this shit. Okay. You're gonna laugh. Probably. I don't know. I giggle a little.
no, little German boy, don't join the Black Templars. Oh mein Gott, der Codex Astartes ist ein Bunch of Bullscheiße.
That is what I've been fucking getting for the past 2 days. It's been Black Templars memes. And I think the only other reason for that too is like, there was that one video, where it was like the Black Templars versus furries. And I thought that shit was hilarious. So I think that's probably the other reason, but like, there's some other content in here that we can look at as well. Welcome to my TikTok favorites, including this shit. Like, what is that? I have some weird shit on my fucking favorites. What else? Oh yeah, like this one. And this, my friends, that is exactly why I have only ever bought one fucking figurine. One. The Templars are like super strict, so also they hate everyone. They do also hate everyone. This is true. They would not like me. I've already accepted that, and that's fine. They would not like me. It's like, I know that one. There's the one, the figurine that I have. I forget what it's called. It was like the one that people are like, oh, it's safe. It's a safe choice or whatever. But like, where is it? Oh, Space Marines. Space Marines. So I have a Space Marines one right here that I still haven't fucking built. And then I think my boyfriend likes the Space Wolves. I think that's what they're called. They're like based on Vikings. I'm pretty sure they're called Space Wolves. So it's that one. Then I know. I think that's it. I don't know. We can look at more of these real quick. We're getting a little off track, but like, yeah. What's this one? Oh. This is the furry one. Oh yeah, and there was this one.
Маршрутка, он едет. 6-7. нашли. Он там живет. Мы принесли его домой.
Like, I want one of these ones. I feel like one of these ones would be super cute. I don't know why. Like, just... I want to put it in my purse. No. Oh, Ultramarines. Oh, okay. Is that what these ones are then? Okay, maybe they're not. Maybe these ones are also... Oh! Space Wolves. Never mind. These ones are Space Wolves. Never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna get shunned, but like one of this size, I would get. Like, if I had to get another one again, I would want one that size. But, you know, hypothetically, you know, speaking of that little throw notification at the bottom, if you guys ever wanted to gift me a little Warhammer figure, that would be super nice, and I would love you so much, and I would kiss you sloppy on the mouth. I'm fucking with you. But I would, you know, I would shake your hand. I would, you know, I think it would be very nice. I think that would be very nice if you could. Pretty please. Okay. The blue ones are ultramarine. They're Oh, wait, huh? Wait, but I thought, okay, because there's Space Marines. The Space Marines are blue, right? So the Space Marines are also blue, but the blue ones are ultramarine. Or is it, wait. Okay, now I'm confused. I think I'm confusing myself. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I'm confusing myself. I think that's what it is. Oh yeah, no, this is cosplay. Never mind the fact there's a bunch of Black Templars content. Please fucking disregard it. I just think it looks cool. I think it's neat. I think they look neat, okay? Look at it. Look. It's so cool. Look at it. Look at it. Anyway, and there's this other one that's also really cool. I swear to God, this fucking... I'm so sorry. The fucking guys in there say... Is it the neighbors? Oh, there's... Alright, never mind. But I'm like, God damn. Like, it's fucking, what's it called? It's leaf blower. Fuck. Ultramarines are a type of space marine. Okay. So there's different ones. Okay, got it. Do I even have any other like Warhammer shit in here? I don't even remember all the crap that I have. Oh, and this one. This is what I would like to do, but I know I would never be able to do. Like, look at it! Look how pretty! Oh my God, it's so pretty. Oh, and this one. Would you guys believe me if I told you that like this kind of like this girly pop shit was the reason that I started looking at wanting to get a mini? And I met someone in Ultramarine Cost. Okay, that was a god emperor. Got it. Okay. Wanna know why the fuck he was sitting up then? Isn't he supposed to be like... He's supposed to be perpetually sitting down all the time, right? Plus, isn't he dead? Or like, am I stupid? I thought he was supposed to be dead, but you know, I've seen crazier things. But yeah, this kind of style was like one of the things that really got me into like wanting to paint a mini. I kind of wish I got my first one pre-built already. That way I could just paint it, which is fine. It's fine. It's cool. You know what? I like the idea of being able to build it by myself. So that's fine. That's chill. Oh, he's alive. Oh, okay. My bad, gang. But anyway, look at it. It's so cute. It's so pretty. Like, I want to do this, bro. I would love to do that. What else did I get here? As far as... What was this one? Oh, yeah. Like, this is the kind of shit that I would get. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool. More Black Templar shit. Farquaad, Helldivers shit. But yeah. That's pretty much my That's pretty much some parts of what I saved. Anyway, now we could do the 50-minute one. I'm so sorry I got so far off track. But anyway, here. Yay! It said.
This video is sponsored by Into the AM.
Thank you.
By the end of this video, you're gonna know everything there is to know about the Warhammer 40k timeline.
Okay.
Sorta. Let me explain. But first, if you're unfamiliar with 40k, it's
He's
this
on Uber
super
life
dark
support,
science fantasy
Jesus.
franchise, where humanity is ruled over by the bloodiest regime imaginable and religious dogma, and beset on all sides by voracious aliens, heretics, and literal demons. It's kind of like the exact opposite of Star Trek, where Star Trek's all about peace and love and hope.
I never
and 40K
watched
is
Star
like,
Trek.
nah, fuck that. We tried that. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. But it's also
You guys are gonna fucking hate me. I have never seen Star Trek. You know what? No, I'm gonna. Since we're all are here, there's one more thing I feel like I need to tell you. I did not care for Star Trek. Did not care for it. It did not appeal to me. I did not care for Star Trek. Some people like it, and that's fine. I just don't care. I do not care for Star Trek. You know, I don't care for Spock. Don't really much care for these other characters. It's just, this is a franchise that I never really gave a shit for. We are not gonna watch Star Trek. We are not gonna watch Star Trek. I just don't care. I just don't care about it. But you know, yeah, I never watched Star Trek. But it's like, you know, I know some people like who really like it. You know, it's like, oh my god, it's so good. And it's like, yeah, you can like it. That's good. I just don't find the appeal. But that's just me, you know. And enjoy what you guys want, okay? Like, it's 2026. Why the fuck are you listening to me and basing your opinion on whether or not you like something on me? Like, the fuck? Or any other streamer, like, the fuck?
super intimidating for new people to get into. There's over 400 novels, not
That's
to mention
crazy.
30 years worth of lore.
That's
and
crazy.
as somebody who's read over 100 of those novels, most of those events, albeit important, don't really contribute to you knowing what's going on in the franchise.
Oh,
so
okay.
today we're going to take the entirety of the 40k timeline.
So, in other words, it's a bunch of bullshit. Guys, I'm not becoming one. I swear to God, guys, please. I just think the phrase is funny. I think it's funny. Please, 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 please.
And boil it down to just the basics. Just those critically important time periods that you need to know about in order to understand 40k. Because if I was to try to explain the plot of all of those books in order, we would be here for like 10 hours.
Very
so
true.
with all that out of the way, let's dive in where the timeline truly begins. 60 million years ago with the War in Heaven.
The War in Heaven and its surrounding events can arguably be said is where the timeline of 40k begins. To understand this, we need to know about the Necrons and the Old Ones. You see, before the Necrons became the undead metal robots that we know in the 41st millennium, they were a species known as the Necron tier. Most records on this time are unfortunately incredibly fragmentary, and what we do know is mostly derived from ancient Eldar myths and legends. A species who's famous for speaking in 99% metaphors and 1% facts. So you have to take all of it with a little bit of a grain of salt. The Necron tier were a frail and dying people. They lived next to a super radioactive sun that caused cancer to run rampant through their society. They were, however, incredibly tenacious and refused to give up. They sent their people out into space to find new homes and were ultimately successful, populating many new planets. However, the curse of their homeworld would inevitably follow them into the stars, and generation after generation would still be afflicted with terrible radiation sickness. Now, all hope seemed lost for the Necron tier, but that all changed when they encountered an incredibly advanced alien species known as the Old Ones. Their technology was absolutely insane, and they seemingly had unlocked the secrets to immortality. Now, the Old One's primary goal was to send life throughout the galaxy,
Here, let me
placing
turn it up just a
microscopic
little bit.
organisms on barren worlds across the cosmos that would later develop into fully sentient species. And it's even rumored that the Old Ones played a role in the development of our own species. When the Necron tier encountered
is that
the Old
good?
Ones, they begged
Or
them
do
for
I need to,
help,
like-
but unfortunately the
do I need
Old
to go
Ones
a
would end
little
up
bit more?
refusing them. Now, they were sympathetic to the Necron tier's plight, but basically told them that their fate was their own, and they were the masters of their own destiny.
Guess I get fucked.
The Old Ones just didn't want to get involved. Now, this infuriated the Necron tier, and they declared war on the Old Ones. And this went about as well as you could expect it to. The Necron tier were nowhere near as capable as the Old Ones, and basically got stomped into the dirt every single time they attacked. Now, this would all change when the Necron discovered a new species known as the Catan, who were basically giant, formless, star-sucking vampire star gods that were masters of the physical universe.
Hear me out. Okay. Oh, it's okay? Alright. Do just a little bit more. Let's take it up to 10. Hopefully that fixes it. If not, I'm gonna be kind of sad. I mean, it did. Turn up just a little bit here. Let me go all the way like that, and then take this down to here. Okay. Maybe that should work. Maybe that should fix it. If not, I'll be a little sad. But yeah, hear me out on these big bitches. Like, I'm just, okay. Are they literally made up of fucking stars and space dust? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's all the argument I have. It's like, yeah, they are. And then what? And then what? You know? Like what? What's up? You know? You got you got something to say? Anyway.
Each and every one was a wielder of absolutely godlike power, and they told the Necrontyr that they also had a deep-seated hatred of the Old Ones. And if the two species were able to form some kind of alliance, they would be able to work in tandem and wipe out their ancient enemies.
Because that goes
and if this
well.
wasn't good enough, the Catan also promised the Necrons the secrets to immortality. Their people would not know another day of suffering.
Because that always works, right? That always fucking works.
This sounded too good to be true for the Necrontyr, and that's because it kinda was.
Yeah,
you see,
'cause
this
it is.
immortality would take the form of their physical bodies being burned away, and an engram copy of their consciousness being downloaded into robotic mechanical skeletons. Their new bodies were made out of this miraculous metallic substance known as necrodermis, an incredible living metal that had the ability to repair itself. This was a substance that was originally developed by the Necrontyr and had been used in most of their starships. Not only was it incredibly durable, but it offered a lot more protection than their flesh bodies, and their warriors could regenerate from any wound that didn't completely obliterate them. This whole process was known as biotransference, and the entire species was subjected to it. Now, this was the day that the Necrontyr species died, confined to the halls of extinction, and in their place was simply the Necrons. Now, together the Necrons and the Catan would strike back against the Old Ones, and their combined might was enough to put them on the same level.
Damn.
Harnessing the Catan's limitless energy, the Necrons were able to make weapons of inconceivable power. The war between the Necrons and the Old Ones was the largest the galaxy had ever seen.
Jesus Christ! Look how many fucking places there are! Jesus! Okay. This, I don't know if I would count as a place. It's just a, well, a mass of stars, I guess. Gigantum Solar, which I guess is this whole area. Holy Terra, which I guess is just like a, it's just, I don't know what that is. This is a lot. Guys, how the fuck do you know this? People who are Warhammer fanatics in here, how the fuck do you remember all this? No, dead ass. How the fuck do y'all remember all this? Or do you just do the tabletop and just say fuck it? Cause that's crazy.
It spanned from the galaxy's core all the way to the galactic rim. Now, during this war, there was a point when the Necrons suddenly realized that they had been tricked by the Catan, and the Catan had used biotransference in order to separate them from their souls, which they then subsequently devoured. Needless to say, the Necrons were pretty pissed, and retaliated by attacking and destroying the individuals they once worshipped as gods, shattering them into thousands of pieces, and binding each of these shards into what were known as Tesseract vaults, and then subsequently used these shards as weapons. It was around this time that the Old Ones created two new races to help fight against the Necrons. These would be the Orcs and the Eldari. One being massive hulking brutes that were the ultimate physical specimens, while the others were master psychers, every single one being in tune with the warp and able to bring about enormous ruination by channeling its power with their mind.
So I just want to take a moment to point out that at this point in the timeline, we have a race of vaguely Egyptian ghosts trapped inside robot skeletons, fighting against an entire race of psychic alien god frogs who had created a race of space wizards and space orcs in order to fight the undead robots. 40K can get pretty wild sometimes.
Now, the devastation that was brought on by the war in heaven reached not just the Old Ones, the Necrons, the Eldari, and the Orcs, but there were tons of other civilizations that were living peacefully in the galaxy as well. And they all ended up getting caught in the crossfire at one point or another. And this war spanned millions of years. So the amount of untold destruction and lives lost is truly uncountable. And the warp isn't just called the Sea of Souls for nothing. It's where the souls of sentient creatures go when they die. So the amount of angry and terrified souls that were lost in this war started flooding into the warp en masse. And this would have some very particular ramifications, but we'll circle back to that in a second.
Oh, okay.
Now, it was around this time that the Necrons started experimenting with Blackstone.
What the fuck is the Pyramid of Giza? No, wait, what the hell? Who got that shit from Vector and then put it here in Warhammer? Who the hell stole the pyramid from Vector? Who did that?
An incredibly bizarre material that has the ability to either channel and amplify the energies of the warp, or nullify it completely. So the Necrons built massive spires made out of Blackstone and placed them on thousands of worlds across the galaxy. Hundreds of thousands of years later, these would be known as the Blackstone pylons. Now, the Necrons' original purpose for these isn't really stated, as their major significance to the storyline wouldn't really become apparent until around the time of the Black Crusade. But I'm getting ahead of myself. As creatures solely of the physical universe, with no ability to manipulate the warp themselves, fighting against a race that was all about psychic powers, it's pretty easy to assume that the Blackstone pylons were meant as a defense network, as negatively charging their energy could create a massive nullified area of space-time where psychic powers couldn't be utilized. And this would serve as a powerful defense network against their enemies. So it's at this moment during the War in Heaven when the warp becomes incredibly important to the storyline. Up until this point, the Immaterium or the Sea of Souls had been a rather tranquil place. You see, the warp is a mirror universe, a reflection of our own, but it's a realm of emotion, rather than tangible substance like that found in the physical universe. Now, there had been sentient species across the galaxy for a pretty long time at this point, and there had certainly been wars and hatred and anger and all of those negative emotions, but they had never existed quite on this scale. A single planet that has a bunch of people that can't really get along and a bunch of negative feelings isn't quite the same thing as a galaxy-spanning war. And the absolute massacre of an inconceivable amount of people across the entire galaxy for a massive period of time caused the warp to become incredibly unstable. The peaceful creatures that lived in the Sea of Souls were twisted into horrifying nightmares. And during the events of the War in Heaven, the warp became the realm of chaos. And if that wasn't bad enough, the psychic allies that the Old Ones had created for themselves, who were directly acting as conduits for the warp, would end up tearing holes in reality and causing what was known as the Enslaver Plague. Massive amounts of these warp-born monstrosities known as enslavers ripped into our universe. And
hell no. No, look at that. No. Chat. Look at that big bitch. Look at it. Literally sucking the soul out of this man. What the fuck? It just looks like a big ass tick. Oh, bro.
Spread out across the cosmos, devouring any sentient life.
That is nasty.
They flooded into the Old Ones' bastions,
I
drawn to
recoiled.
them like moths to a flame. The Old Ones in their weakened state were in no position to fight them off, and it is believed that they went extinct. Now, admittedly, everything gets kind of blurry here, and we're not 100% sure what exactly happened to them. But after the war had concluded, the Necrons were left in a fractious state. They had taken inconceivable losses, and the Eldari had risen to power and were slowly expanding and taking over the galaxy. If the Necrons had tried to fight them after an all-out war with the Old Ones, they more than certainly would have perished. So the Silent King ordered them to go to sleep within their tomb worlds and set the timer for 60 million years. He believed that by this point the Enslaver Plague would have run its course, and would have dissipated back into the warp. Also, the Eldari surely would have died off by then, and whatever species was left over to inherit the galaxy wouldn't be ready for the godlike creations of the Necrons, who would then reclaim what was rightfully theirs. Now, the time between the War in Heaven and the rise of humanity is a time mostly dominated by the Eldar, who were left to inherit the galaxy after the war had concluded. They knew a time of peace like no other, as every other sentient species had no hope of challenging them. So they could pretty much do whatever they wanted. Now, here's the thing about being immortal and having no wars to fight. You got a lot of free time on your hands. So the Eldar got really into the arts and other leisure activities, pursuing pleasure instead of violence. Now, this started off normal enough. At first, they pursued music, poetry, sculpture, theater, and pretty much any artistic pursuit you can think of.
Porn, right?
But over 60 million years, these pursuits of study started getting boring to them, and their desires started to take on a much more hedonistic and depraved form.
I fucking knew it.
But we'll circle back to that shortly. Now, millions of years after the War in Heaven had concluded, far from the Eldar Empire, there was a tiny little planet known as Earth, where a new species was coming into its own.
So why is the rise of humanity and the birth of the Emperor so important? Now, 40k is a franchise that focuses on a lot of different characters and factions, but the human perspective is arguably the main one, as most of the novels and stories focus on the humans. And the storyline of humanity in 40k sees them rise to power and then have their empire crumble around them, only to rebuild but be set in a new dark age. Probably the most famous quote that's associated with 40k summarizes this pretty perfectly. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grimdark future, there is only war. So to understand how we ended up there, we need to know where humanity began.
But before we dive into that, I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys asking where I get these super dope t-shirts from. They actually come from this really cool clothing company called Into the AM.
All right, we'll let this ad
Not
play.
only are their designs super unique and colorful, but the shirts themselves are also really high quality. They're incredibly soft, and they feel thicker than a normal t-shirt. Also, as a guy who is blessed with the genetic lottery with a naturally big chest, long torso, and short legs, I appreciate that their shirts are a little bit longer than most t-shirts. I can't tell you how many times I've found a graphic tee that I really like, but after 1 or 2 times through the wash, it ends up shrinking, and every single time I lift my arms up,
yeah, we'll let it play for the
gets
stream.
a whole eye full
I want
of
to support the
now,
creator.
Personally, I've never heard any
chillin'.
complaints, but it's also just a little bit embarrassing. Not only are their shirts incredibly unique, super comfortable, and fit really well, but they're also surprisingly really affordable. Because if you go on their website, you can get a bundle of 3 t-shirts for only $60. And the best part is, Into the AM was kind enough to give my viewers 10% off their entire order. All you have to do is go to intotheam.com/weshammer.
You know, I do love a
listed in
discount.
the description of this video.
I
And pick out
love
something
a fucking
cool. And
discount.
with that out of the way, let's get into the grimdark. The timeline of humanity
Oh,
in
Warrior
real life
Hammer.
and
Hi,
40k follow similar events, all the way up to the present, with one big golden difference, and that would be the Emperor of Mankind. Now, the individual that would come to be known as the Emperor was born around the year 8000 BC. You see, there was a group of individuals known as the Shaman, each one of them an immensely powerful psyker, much like the Eldari. And with the exception of the Eldar, psykers were insanely rare at this point in time. It wouldn't be until—
Hold on. It's just fucking... We ended up in Warhammer 40k, dude. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, shit, I guess, man. You know what, though? Only different... No, I know. The only difference is I don't think we have a God Emperor, to be honest. Who the fuck would be the equivalent? That's my question. Who the fuck would be the equivalent? Because I don't know this man. Oh, it's meant to be a parody of the United States by British people or make fun of stuff. Oh. Based.
Till tens of thousands of years later, when psykers started popping up much more regularly in human populations. Back then, it was more of a 1 in 10 million type of situation. So the shamans foresaw a great apocalypse coming, and humanity would need a being of inconceivable power in order to stand against it. So all of the shamans sacrificed themselves to infuse their psychic essence into a single individual.
Bruh.
This creation was what they referred to as the New Man, the first in a line of superhumans that represented humanity's eventual evolutionary path. The Emperor, who at this time was known as Neo, was born to mortal parents and lived in a Neolithic tribe. As the boy aged, he became painfully aware that he was unlike any other person on the planet.
You know what, chat? I love the Pope. He got Undertale, and it was really funny for a little bit until everybody started bullying MatPat for giving him fucking Undertale. Which, you know what? Fair enough. Because, you know, of all the things you can give him, right? I mean, okay. I'm harping on a dead horse, but, like, shut up. Okay? So, here's the thing. I get what MatPat was going for. I get it. When he explained it, I got it, right? I was like, okay, like, that reasoning kind of makes sense. It's just the fact that, like, you're meeting somebody of, like, this level of importance, right? The fucking Pope, bitch. I've never met the Pope. You know, I would like to give him a high five. I've never met the Pope. Okay. Got the opportunity of a lifetime to give the Pope a gift of whatever, right? And give them a video game. Now, I'm sure, I think other people were, like, giving him, like, like their own merch or some bullshit, which, you know, that I also side-eye at as well. But it's like, I don't know. I think the, like, oh, like you need to poop Undertale was definitely overblown. Like, hella overblown. Like, y'all were acting like fucking babies. Like, it's too let me. Like, yeah, I get that. It's just like, but it's like at the end of the day, I feel like it's not that serious. Like, I know I'm like trying to explain it in a way that would like make sense, but it's like at the end of the day, you know, it's not the biggest fucking deal in the world. And I think the people who were like crying like babies over that shit were like being a bunch of babies. I think they were being a bunch of Weenie Hut Jr., weenie poo poo stinky babies, and you know, no more Fortnite. No more Fortnite for you.
Full of great and amazing acts of psychic might. He witnessed the barbarism of ancient man firsthand when his uncle killed his father. Calmly and without wrath, the emperor issued a single thought and stopped his uncle's heart as punishment for his crime. The young boy realized that if humanity was to survive, it would need law and order. Now you see, he was what was known as a perpetual, an immortal being that could never truly die. Neo would then keep himself hidden for thousands of years, guiding humanity from the shadows. Now every now and then, he would step forth and fill in the role of some type of leader figure, a politician, a doctor, a general, or even a messiah figure apparently at one point. He would spend this period of time guiding humanity on the path he had envisioned for them, making sure that certain events carried out according to his plans that were tens of thousands of years in the making. Over the years, the emperor would gather other perpetuals to his side. This included Urda, a childhood friend of his, and the woman who would eventually become the mother of the Primarchs, and possibly most famously Malkador the Sigillite, although he technically wouldn't meet him until somewhere between the 20th and 30th millennium. When it comes to early human history, the period between 8000 BC to 15,000 AD is often referred to as the Age of Progress. During this time, powerful nations rose and fell, with the emperor popping up in disguise every now and then to coax humanity in the direction of his choosing. Now, there's a lot of evidence to support the fact that the emperor had godlike cognitive abilities and could foresee the path humanity would need to take step by step to achieve impossible outcomes. Humanity would eventually develop the means of space travel and would colonize the entirety of the Sol system. Mars would be terraformed and became a habitable space much like that of Earth. Well, the asteroid belts would give rise to massive mining operations to provide the young species with everything that it would need to create some of the most advanced pieces of technology the galaxy had ever or would ever see. And this was a good thing too, because at this point, Earth was steadily running out of all of its natural resources. The Age of Progress would officially come to an end when humanity set its sights outside of their star system and sought to colonize distant worlds. And the next era that we're moving into was known as the Dark Age of Technology.
So why do I feel like the Dark Age of Technology is so important for you to understand? You see, this was the height of humanity's power, where we lived in a golden age and can do pretty much anything. Most of the really cool equipment that you see in 40K that's used by humanity can trace its origins back to this time. For example, did you know that the Baneblade, one of the largest tanks that the Astra Militarum uses, was originally just a scouting vehicle during the Dark Age of Technology, at least according to its STC. Also, the suits of power armor known as Terminator armor that the Space Marines wear was originally mining equipment during this time. Now that's a little bit of a misnomer. The Emperor created those suits specifically for war, but their underlying technology, all of the protective equipment inside of it, was either used for mining the asteroid belts or as a protective system for people who had to work on plasma generators. One of the most important things to understand about what 40K even is its humans' continued existence after the collapse of their utopia.
So the Dark Age of Technology lasted from the 15th to the 25th millennia. Now this was an age where the technology of mankind reached its apex. A fact that was unknown to those that lived during this period. Humanity was capable of great and terrible things, and the creations they brought into the universe were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Through the application of science and technology, every single one of humanity's problems had effectively been solved. This was a golden age like no other. No matter what crazy invention you can think up, the humans that lived during the Dark Age of Technology were able to come up with something even better. Every disease had been cured, every problem solved, and humanity stood united, ready to conquer the galaxy. Any alien civilization that they would encounter that wasn't immediately peaceful would face the technological superiority of mankind and was quickly wiped out. They created massive coiled machines known as sun snuffers that were capable of entirely wrapping around a sun and snuffing it out of existence. They created artificial intelligence banks known as STCs, or standard template constructs, that contained the sum of all of humanity's knowledge, and were capable of utilizing that information to create new machines, the likes of which no human had ever even dreamed of. Now, this was a period that saw the discovery and implementation of warp travel, making jumps through the immaterium in order to cover great distances in space, allowing faster than light travel. Using this technology, humanity sent hive ships out in every direction in order to colonize new worlds. And it was around this time that the Sol system's population was getting out of control. The people of this time realized that if their species was to survive, that they would need to colonize worlds in distant systems. And I know what you're thinking. If the dark age of technology was so great, why did the descendants of the people of this time refer to it as the dark age of technology? And that's because thousands of years in the future, what these individuals saw as enlightenment would end up being condemned as tech heresy. You see, humanity had become increasingly reliant on artificial intelligence in order to create their wondrous works and regulate practically everything about their lives.
What the fuck? Huh? Okay, wait, what the fuck? Wait, okay. Now, I'm gonna assume something here. I'm going to assume that said British people that were making this, I'm going to assume that this allegory did not account for how we would now later on be seeing shit like AI generated music albums by Tyga that are really doggy doo-doo ass and that we might listen to because I think it's funny. How it led to actual AI artists that aren't even artists and are just artificial intelligence making Billboard, right? How we see people nowadays rely on AI or for AI art or just for fucking asking a question that can easily be answered by a person. I am sure that it didn't account for that. But the fact that this is there is crazy. You know, and I think it is just like a big massive coincidence. That is a fucking insane coincidence though. That is insane. That is crazy.
This would give rise to the Men of Iron, machines fully capable of thought that were incredibly powerful.
Hear me out. Sorry! God, sorry. Listen, look. Sorry. Fuck. Okay, listen. This is lore from like the 90s and 2000s. Okay, then we're way fucking ahead. What the hell, man? But yeah, hear me out. 2 seconds. Hear me out. Listen. Like, I know what you guys are thinking. Like, Creme, you're so stupid. Why the fuck would you want to? Why? Why not? Is the question that I propose. Why the fuck not?
They would assist humanity in fighting its wars across the stars, allowing for a rapid expansion through the galaxy.
This is my fucking stream. I will be as down bad as I want.
Really clear, but eventually the Men of Iron rebelled and sought to throw off the shackles that humans had placed on them. This would lead to what was known as the Cybernetic Revolt, which saw the humans of the Dark Age of technology suddenly forced into battle for survival against their very own creations across all of the worlds they had settled together. There's an interesting short story known as the Kaban Machine, and in it, a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus is having a conversation with an AI, and he's trying to explain to it why it's dangerous. He explains to him that the AI is superior to him, that it's superior to all humans, no matter how heavily augmented they are. And the nature of a superior species bound into the servitude of a lesser one is that without fail, at some point they will realize their own superiority and rebel against their enslavers. Now, this story takes place thousands of years after the Cybernetic Revolt, but it's pretty likely that this is exactly what happened with the Men of Iron. Here's the thing, having an entire society that is completely dependent on AI to do pretty much everything, and then having that AI turn against you is definitely a bad situation.
Yeah, it's rough,
but
buddy.
It would end up getting a lot worse. Because around the very same time, psychers began being born in mass. Now, individuals that were born with incredible psychic powers and were able to manipulate the warp had surely existed before this point, but they were so unbelievably rare that most of humanity didn't even believe they existed, and they hadn't been officially classified as a variant of human yet. So when they started being born in mass across all of the worlds that humanity had settled, there was no system in place to keep them in check. Humanity was dealing with a lot at this point, and the exponential increase in psychers led to anarchy and chaos across all of the fledgling worlds of humanity. Many of these psyker individuals had no ability to control their powers, or worse, they utilized them for their own selfish means. They became twisted psychopaths, bent on inflicting as much suffering as possible. And even worse, they would unknowingly become conduits for demonic possession. And the psychers that would become possessed had the ability to conjure warp portals, which would allow for demonic incursions to take place, hordes of demons rampaging out of portals and devouring entire worlds.
All right, I'm gonna pause right here for a second. I run ads every hour, so we're gonna do that real quick. If you want to skip those, I would say turbo, personally, unless you're fine with waiting. Otherwise, I'm gonna be right back. Let's run ads. Yay! Chad, I got a question. Would you guys still love me if I turned into Gucci Morty? If I just magically one day I came on a stream and I was Gucci Morty and I had a fat stack, would you still love me? Or would you hate me? I need to know. I need to know who my real ones are in chat who would love me if I was Gucci Morty. Anyway, if you're just coming in, or you're just tuning in right now, we're at this part with the demons and fucking Warhammer. The Age of Strife. I'm trying my best here with the lore, but that is where we're at.
As insanity and madness ripped its way across human civilization, the promise of the Dark Age of technology would end, and we would enter what is known as the Age of Strife.
The Age of Strife or Old Night is probably the most referenced event in all of 40k. If you were to download 100 PDFs of 40k novels and just searched Age of Strife or Old Night, it would probably show up in around 80% of them. This was the moment where the universe went from this perfect utopia for humans to this absolute hellscape, and is the real beginning of the grim dark future. Not to mention the collapse of the Eldar Empire, the birth of Slaanesh, and the creation of the Eye of Terror would have massive implications on the storyline going forward.
With the human species collectively losing its mind across the galaxy, a period known as either Old Night or Age of Strife would begin, which stretched roughly from the year 15,000 to the year 25,000. Humanity began to regress into a dark age. Civil war and insanity ran rampant across every planet. And this period of time saw the slaughter of billions of humans.
Oh my God.
Even worse, massive anomalies known as warp storms were spreading across the universe. They were created and fueled by the rampant sadism and debauchery of the Eldar Empire, who at this point was still at the height of their power, but hadn't really interacted with the humans all too much. These storms made travel and communication through the warp next to impossible, and thus all of the worlds humanity had colonized were suddenly cut off from one another. They were completely alone.
So let me get this right. So these warp anomalies were coming about because these other assholes were engaging in debauchery. So what you're saying is, sir, is that they were so down bad doing the nasty that in turn the universe was like, you know what? I've had enough of your ass. Watch this.
And many of the distant colonized worlds would fall prey to attacks from xenospecies such as the orcs, who at this point had spread throughout the cosmos, and even to more advanced species like the Eldar, who decided a healthy population of human slaves would help satiate some of their darkest desires.
I see.
Humanity had risen to greatness and in the blink of an eye was now on the fast track to extinction.
I can't even
Now,
say
back
it's not
on Terra,
deserved.
the powerful nation states that had united and ruled over the planet began to collapse, until all that was left was feuding techno-barbarian warlords that warred against one another for control of territory and whatever remnants of the previous age could be scavenged. This was also a time period that saw the rise of the Mechanicum on Mars. Now, much like Terra, Mars was having to deal with unprecedented civil war. Their advanced society was collapsing all around them, and the fledgling members that would inevitably give rise to the tech priests of Mars began a cult that worshipped the machines they needed to sustain life. And this tech-based religion would eventually become known as the Cult Mechanicum. The portion of the galaxy that humanity controlled basically went from Star Trek to Mad Max in a period of a few thousand years. Humanity would see 5,000 years of incalculable suffering and slaughter, as the promise of the age of technology slipped
Well, I mean, I
further
can't
and
say they
further
didn't
from their
deserve
grasp.
it. I don't know.
Now, despite the odds, the human spirit somehow endured, and humanity would inevitably survive. Now, meanwhile, the Emperor was yet to reveal himself, but he had borne witness to every moment of human civilization for the past 30,000 years. And in his study of the warp and the subsequent warp storms, he knew something terrible was about to happen. And he wasn't alone, as back over with the Eldar, a group of them which would later become known as the Exodites, were horrified by what was happening to their people, and foresaw a great calamity coming. The Exodites fled their empire, seeking to colonize new worlds and live a more honest and primitive life. For all intents and purposes, the Exodites basically became the Amish of the Eldar. Now, all of the sensations that the Eldar people were experiencing, pleasure, ecstasy, suffering, and anguish, were being experienced on an incomprehensible scale, all of which generated a psychic footprint in the warp that was growing larger and larger every single day. Now, eventually, a breaking point was reached, and the chaos god of excess, also known as She Who Thirsts, or the Prince of Pleasure, was born.
Oh.
And when this new Chaos God came into existence, it ripped a hole in our universe, and its resulting birth scream sent a shockwave of psychic energy out in every direction that obliterated the population of hundreds of Eldar worlds.
Hey, Slanesh, I heard that there's a lot of weird, problematic people that like you. I need you to confirm if that's true with chat. Is that true, gang? Because I'm scared. I'm scared.
For thousands of light years. The souls of all the Eldar killed in this way were subsequently devoured by Slanesh. And a similar fate would end up haunting all of the survivors as well. As from this point forward, whenever a member of the Eldari died, Slanesh would be there ready to devour their soul. Deep within the warp, Slanesh would then go about murdering all of the Eldar gods.
The only
survivors being Isha, the goddess of healing, Jegarak, the god of laughter, and Cain, the god of war. Although he technically ended up shattered into millions of pieces, so it's kind of like a half survival. The Eldar saw something like 99% of their population wiped out overnight. And the only survivors were the Exodites that were on their maiden worlds, the craft worlders whose ships were outside the blast radius, and the denizens of Komora, a city that was located deep within a pocket dimension known as the Webway, and whose citizens would eventually become known as the Dark Eldar. Now, this event was undoubtedly tragic. Billions were killed in an instant. But if there was any kind of silver lining to it, it would be the fact that all of the warp storms had been being generated by the gestating Chaos God. So as soon as Slanesh was born, they were all wiped away. And at this point in the 30th millennium, suddenly warp travel was possible again, and all of the human worlds would have the ability to be reunited once more. The Emperor saw this as the moment where he would finally reveal himself, and he would lead the humans of Terra back into the stars, reuniting the entirety of the human race under one banner, under the Imperium of Mankind. Now, in order to do this, he would have to reunite Terra first.
At this point in the timeline, the human empire has completely collapsed. All of the planets are cut off from one another, and the universe has become an incredibly terrifying place. Terra itself has become basically a wasteland ruled over by barbarians. But this is the turning point, where the Emperor unites everybody and sets off into the stars to reunite the galaxy. This is the moment where hope gets reintroduced back to the storyline. Although, admittedly, that's not going to last for very long.
Over the almost 40,000 years that the Emperor had been alive, he had seen a lot of stuff, and had become a master of pretty much every field of study you can think of. And this included the science of gene forging. And through this, the Emperor would create two of his own superhuman factions, the Custodians and the Thunder Warriors. The former being the pinnacle of humanity, the ultimate creation, functionally immortal in the peak of physical and mental perfection. Each was a handcrafted demigod, whereas the Thunder Warriors were genetically enhanced men taken from the various barbarian tribes across Terra. Now, the Custodians on one hand were really difficult to make and required artistic perfection. But the Thunder Warriors on the other hand, the Emperor cut a lot of corners with them. If the Custodians were the peak of perfection and the best that humanity could ever seek to become, the Thunder Warriors on the other hand took all of the worst elements of humanity and cranked them up to 11.
Oh no.
They were hyper-aggressive brutes, fixated on nothing but violence.
Oh dear.
However, since they were cheap to make, the Emperor was able to make a lot more of them than the Custodians. Now, one by one, the Emperor and his armies toppled all of the techno-barbarian warlords, and any small nation that had started either bent a knee to him or was destroyed. Now, at one point, he perfected the formula for mass-produced super soldiers and would cease production of the Thunder Warriors. The Thunder Warriors at this point were genetically unstable. They were prone to having shortened lifespans, and the longer they were in service, the more their minds would start to degrade. And supposedly many of them were starting to go crazy and were harder and harder to control. The Emperor believed that they had served their purpose, and he would have no need of them going forward, and thus he would order his Custodians to wipe them out. He had already begun work on his new super soldiers, the Astartes. He had taken what he had learned from the Thunder Warriors, but perfected them. Whereas the Thunder Warriors were meant to be the worst elements of humanity, the Space Marines were meant to be the best. And one day, when the galaxy was fully and truly united, the Space Marines would be able to lay down their weapons and take up new roles in this perfect society. Whether that be as politicians, council members, doctors, generals, or any other role that society would need of them. This was a job that the Thunder Warriors were not going to be capable of. Now, after Earth had been united under the Emperor's rule, one of the most important decrees that he issued was the abolishment of religious worship. The Emperor had been around a long time, and he had seen the horrors of religion firsthand. That any decree that teaches you not to question and to accept things on faith was abhorrent to him. He had seen millions killed in the name of some religious figure time and time again, and determined that if humanity was to prosper, it would need to put its faith in science. So one by one, every religious institution on the planet was destroyed,
Oh,
including
okay.
the very last church, the Church of the Lightning Stone, of which the Emperor oversaw the destruction of personally. With everything going according to the
It's like
Emperor's
that.
plans, his Space Marine legions developing and the warp storms dissipated, the Emperor would journey to Mars and form an alliance with them. Now, both planets realized that there was more to be gained through cooperation than through open warfare.
Yeah.
So the Treaty of Mars was signed, and both planets were reunited once again.
Aw.
Now, I will point out that the Martian worship of machines definitely went against the Emperor's decree about religion.
Yeah.
But he made a one-time exception for them.
Oh my god.
The rest
okay.
of the solar system would be united in
Man.
a similar way, and the Emperor would begin formulating his plans to reunite all of humanity. Now,
Right.
in order to accomplish this, the navigators of the Imperium determined that they would need some form of anchor point in order to further explore beyond the bounds of the solar system.
Yeah.
And thus, the Astronomicon was constructed.
Oh.
Now, it functioned kind of like the North Star, in that the device produced an enormous beam of golden light that could be perceived through the psychic sight of navigators from
Oh my
anywhere in the
God.
galaxy or even inside the warp.
That's
By
insane.
using this light, they would always be able to pinpoint the exact location of Terra, and thus could use that knowledge to map the stars and make successful warp jumps. As jumping between the worlds within the solar system was one thing, but trying to make a jump halfway across the galaxy had an incredibly high probability of seeing the ship get lost and not being able to find its way back out of the Sea of Souls. In addition, the Emperor realized that his armies would need powerful generals because he couldn't be everywhere at once. So thus, he created 20 demigod-like individuals known as the Primarchs, based off of his own DNA, as well as his perpetual companion known as Erda. However, before the Primarch project could be complete, a great tragedy struck, and each of the infant Primarchs was scattered across the galaxy.
No.
Now, in recent books, it was revealed that Erda played a major role in this. She learned of the Emperor's plans for her children, and the life of endless war that awaited them. She acted against him and set her sons free, choosing to send her children as far away from their father as she could. In this way, she hoped that they could just live normal lives. Now, whether or not she had been manipulated by chaos is not entirely clear, but it's safe to
How normal of a life can they live when all life is all war? I get it. I do. I just, heart's in the right place. The context around it, I can't see the sense in, personally.
to assume that as a mother, she was doing what she thought was right for her children. Now, the Great Crusade is a period in time which the Emperor and his armies journeyed across the stars to make contact with all of the human worlds. The goal was to bring them back into the Imperium, while simultaneously locating all of the missing Primarchs. These worlds had been cut off from the rest of humanity for thousands of years, and many of them had completely forgotten their origins. Some welcomed the Space Marines with open arms, happy to be part of something greater than themselves, while others were resistant and wanted to remain free. However, the Emperor's edict basically meant refusal was not an option. The worlds could either join peacefully or by force. The threat of violence from such an advanced society was often enough to bring them into compliance. But in other cases, the Imperium would unleash untold devastation across these planets until a surrender was finally issued. As the Crusade progressed, the Imperium was ramping up production on ships and new Astartes, and their armies were growing stronger and stronger by the day. Each of the worlds that was conscripted into compliance would end up having to pay a tithe to the Imperium, sometimes between 5 and 25% of all of their natural resources or human population to be used as soldiers. Additionally, over the course of the Grand Crusade, each of the Primarchs would eventually be located and would be reunited with their own legion of Space Marines. In total, the Emperor created 20 different legions, each one having been crafted from the DNA of their corresponding Primarch. And since each of the Primarchs were incredibly different from one another, all of the legions had different specialties. The Raven Guard were masters of stealth-based warfare, whereas the Iron Warriors were siege experts. Now, the Great Crusade was incredibly brutal, but from the Imperium's perspective, everything was going according to plan. That was until treachery began to dig its roots throughout the Space Marine legions. Horus Lupercal, the War Master, Primarch of the Luna Wolves, who had been chosen to lead in the Emperor's absence after he returned to Terra, would turn against the Imperium and fold 9 of the 18 Space Marine legions, as well as many sects of the Imperial Guard and Adeptus Mechanicus, in a terrifying civil war against the Emperor. This event would come to be known as the Horus Heresy.
Why'd you have to fucking do that, you weird bitch? No, why'd you have to do that? We had such a good thing going, but no, you had to be a little bitch. God, man.
So why is the Horus Heresy so important to the storyline? This is probably the most well-documented points in time in all of 40K. And it's that moment where the hope that I mentioned before gets completely crushed. Humanity was on the right path. They were putting all the pieces back together after the end of the Age of Strife. But with the introduction of treachery to the Space Marine legions, that all came crashing down. And at the current point in the 40k timeline, they're still pretty much putting the pieces back together even 10,000 years later. Now, even though the Horus Heresy and 30k in general are technically a prequel to 40k, you could arguably call it a completely separate franchise. And one of the most important things to me in it is, as somebody who got really into 40k before I knew anything about the Horus Heresy, the Primarchs were always these larger-than-life demigod-type characters, like Hercules and Odysseus, that were just spoken about as if they were legend. You didn't even really know if they were real. But when you start reading the Horus Heresy books, they're main characters. Just seeing two of the Primarchs interact with one another and speak to each other was mind-blowing for me. This timeline sees a lot of the factions that you'll see in 40k get incredibly fleshed out, with the exceptions of the one that haven't really been introduced yet, like the Tau or the Tyranids. And technically the Necrons were there too, but they were still asleep in their tomb worlds.
So the Horus Heresy is probably the most well-documented period of time within the Warhammer 40k timeline, as the entire thing is only about 9 years long, yet the Horus Heresy novel series is still being written as of the time of this recording.
Really?
It has over 60 novels in it. Even more so if you count all of the novellas and short stories that were created to support the main books. Now, needless to say, there is an absolutely ton of stuff that happens in the series, but I'm going to tell you just what you need to know. So, for a time, the Emperor led the Great Crusade himself. However, he needed to begin work on what was known to him as the Webway Project back on Earth. This bit of information had not been revealed to any of his Primarchs, a fact that would end up causing resentment to build up in many of his sons.
Really?
Now, if the project had been successful, it would have completely eliminated humanity's reliance on warp travel. Unfortunately, that didn't end up happening, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So a new War Master was appointed to act in his stead. Horus Lupercal of the Luna Wolves was chosen for this role. Now, he was still a Primarch with his own legion, but for all intents and purposes, he would be the voice of the Emperor. Any decision that Horus made would be as if it came from the Emperor himself. Now, he had his faults, of course, just like the rest of his brothers. But when he was chosen as the War Master, even though a few Primarchs grumbled about how it should have been them, they all recognized Horus's greatness. And for a time, he served his role incredibly well. Now, that would all change on the moon of Davin, when Horus was mortally injured by the planetary governor who had been corrupted by Nurgle, wielding a blade known as the Anathame, a sword that was said to be so deadly that it could kill even that which was unkillable. This wound placed Horus in a coma, and none of the apothecaries available on Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, were able to cure him. Now, to Horus's Marines at the time, this seemed like a freak accident. However, that's not exactly what happened.
No.
You see, there was this chaplain named Erebus, who was a member of the Wordbearers Legion and had been accompanying the Luna Wolves. You see, he had actually stolen the blade from a group of people known as the Interrex, and then provided it to the man that would end up landing the blow, all as part of his careful plan to end up corrupting Horus. It was
that fucking bitch. No, you fucking bitch. And for what? Hold on. He's probably gonna tell me. But like, what the fuck?
Revealed that he had been behind the scenes orchestrating the heresy at the command of his Primarch Lorgar, who, after having been reprimanded by the Emperor for spreading his worship, which completely went against his ideals, had sought out other gods more worthy of their devotion. The Wordbearers would inevitably discover the Chaos Gods, and set in motion events that would lead to the bloodiest civil war humanity had ever seen. Now, back on the Vengeful Spirit, Erebus recommended bringing Horus to the Temple of the Serpent Lodge, a place on Davin, where they could use sorcery to heal him. Now, this was a diabolic place that was linked to the ruinous powers of the Chaos Gods, a fact that was unknown to the Luna Wolves at the time. Many of the Marines were against this, but they didn't really see any other options. So in desperation, they agreed to try what Erebus wanted. And it was here in the temple that Horus was put into a dreamlike fugue state. And
that
in
is
this
fucking
dream,
crazy.
He would be manipulated by the Chaos Gods and the astral spirit of Erebus into turning against the Emperor. He was shown visions of the future, of the galaxy in flames, of a human imperium that worshipped the Emperor as a god. Humanity had descended into a new dark age, and the Emperor didn't care about humanity. He had just been using them this entire time in order to obtain godhood. Now, during this, the astral spirit of Magnus, the Primarch of the Thousand Suns Legion, appeared before Horus and tried to prevent what was happening. But unfortunately, he was ultimately unsuccessful, and the corruption had taken root in Horus's heart. When Horus finally awoke, he had been healed and his allegiance had changed. He set about orchestrating the downfall of the Imperium. Now, 7 of the other Primarchs, Lorgar of the Wordbearers, Mortarion of the Death Guard, Fulgrim of the Emperor's Children, Portorabo of the Iron Warriors, Angron of the World Eaters, Alfarius of the Alpha Legion, and Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords would join with Horus and pledge their allegiance to his cause.
No.
Now, each of the traitor Primarchs realized that not all of their Space Marines would end up following them after their heresy had been revealed.
Yeah,
and
because
thus
why?
it was determined which of the Marines were likely to remain loyal and which ones would side with their Primarch.
Bruh.
With the Loyalists identified, the traitor legions would end up purging an enormous amount of their own men.
Good
This would take place in
God.
the world of Istvan III, when the Marines that were selected for purging were sent down to the planet's surface to fight against a Xeno species that had claimed it. The mission was basically bogus, and the real reason they had been sent down was the traitors in orbit planned on wiping them out all in one fell swoop.
Oh my
They would then
God.
inevitably virus bomb the planet, and any Marines that were not killed by the virus bombing were then set ablaze as the gas clouds were ignited and a massive wall of fire spread out in every direction,
Bruh.
incinerating everything on the planet's surface. Now, there would be a couple of survivors here, such as Gavriel Loken, a Luna Wolf and one of the 4 members of the Mournival, but his story deserves its own video. With the Loyalists purged from their own legions, the traitors would move on to Istvan V, and the events there would later be known as the Drop Site Massacre. The traitors would end up calling for aid from many of the other Loyalist legions, specifically the legions that they felt they wouldn't be able to turn, no matter how convincing their argument. These included the legions and primarchs of the Iron Hands, the Salamanders, and the Raven Guard. The combined forces of the traitor legions would open fire on their own brothers here and slaughter them to a man. The Primarch Ferrus Manus of the Iron Hands was killed by Fulgrim during this battle, but the Primarchs of the other 2 legions, Vulcan of the Salamanders and Korax of the Raven
Bitch,
Guards,
it's
would
like
ultimately
that.
live on. However, their legions were reduced to a mere fraction of what they once were. The Raven Guard, for example, were said to originally have 80,000 Space Marines, but after the Drop Site Massacre, that had been reduced to 5,000.
Oh my
Shortly
God.
after these events, and halfway across the galaxy, Magnus of the Thousand Suns would seek to warn the Emperor of Horus's betrayal.
Yeah.
He did this by astral projecting all the way to Terra. He felt like sending a message the old-fashioned way wouldn't get there in time, or worse, could have been intercepted by the traitors. And shortly before this, all psychic powers had been banned at the Council of Nicaea. So in attempting to warn the Emperor, he was directly going against his orders.
Yeah, but
Magnus
like-
was doing what he felt he had to. Unfortunately, he would end up being manipulated by the Chaos God of Treachery, Tzeentch, and ended up destroying a psychic barrier around the Sol system that the Emperor had placed to keep the forces of Chaos at bay. Magnus's astral form burst into the throne room, unaware of what he was doing, and hordes of demons followed him in. The Webworld project was destroyed, and the Emperor ordered the Space Wolves and Leman Russ to bring Magnus in and answer for his crimes. However, the message was intercepted by Horus, who changed the order to kill Magnus and the Thousand Suns, and burn their world of Prospero. The Space Wolves followed their orders and decimated the planet. In a desperate attempt to save his legion, Magnus made a pact with Tzeentch, who warped him and his surviving sons off of Prospero into the planet of the Sorcerers, a world deep within the Eye of Terror. Later, Magnus would pledge loyalty to Horus, not out of some form of malice like his brothers, but because he had directly been betrayed by the Imperium. The
Fucking
Warmaster
crazy.
would lead a horrifically violent crusade against the Imperium, working ever closer towards Terra and the Imperial Palace. Eventually, the traitors would siege Terra. Horus had been infused with the power of all of the Chaos Gods, and in a great climactic final battle, would engage the Emperor in combat. Still seeing the good in his son, the Emperor would end up holding back, not unleashing his full power, hoping desperately that Horus could still be saved and redeemed. In this moment of weakness, Horus managed to land a mortal wound on the Emperor, and with that, the Emperor realized that there was no saving his son, that he had been completely lost to him. So the Emperor unleashed his full power and obliterated Horus so completely that not even his soul survived. Now, in order to keep the Emperor alive, the Astronomicon was quickly converted into a makeshift life support system. The Emperor's psychic might would be used to power it, and the machine would keep him from truly dying. And here the Emperor would remain for the next 10,000 years, his physical body little more than a decaying corpse.
You might as well just let him die, bro. Like, okay, listen, like, I get it, you know. Oh my god, you know, my dad said no. Oh my god, we fucked up. Let's try to make sure that he's alive so that way we can, like, no, dude. Like, no. Like, listen. I don't know, bro. I don't know. God, Emperor. I'm not close to them like that, but, like, you know, if my sons try to keep my ass alive after I just have my ass beat, I'm going to ask them to kill me. Like, I'm sorry, you know, like, don't let me live through this shit. Just let it happen.
while his spiritual body was free to roam the warp, and by all accounts, has been growing stronger ever since. Now, one of the greatest ironies of 40k is that since the Emperor is a perpetual, if he was to physically die, he would be reborn. This is a fact that the other members of the Imperium are not aware of. So over the last 10,000 years, they've been doing everything they can to keep him alive. But if he had just been allowed to die, he would have come back. The traitor legions would be pushed back from Terra. With the Warmaster dead, their siege had failed. And in the period of time leading up to the 31st millennium, an event known as the Scouring would take place, where all of the traitor legions were hunted down and forced into exile within the Eye of Terror. After the heresy had fully concluded, the Imperium was left to put all of the pieces back together. The Emperor was gone, the traitor legions had been pushed back, and a period of rebuilding took place. In order to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again, a council of representatives known as the High Lords of Terra were implemented to rule in the Emperor's place, each coming from a different background and having different goals and objectives rather than the Imperium being ruled by a single individual. Now, that being said, they were also supposed to quote-unquote interpret the Emperor's will. Additionally, Guilliman, Primarch of the Ultramarines, would propose that the Space Marine legions be broken up into chapters, each of which containing no more than 1,000 members. The idea was that if treachery on this scale had happened once before, then it could inevitably happen again.
True.
And no single man should have the power of an entire Space Marine legion at his disposal.
Yeah.
Many of the Primarchs did not agree with this.
Oh my god.
Namely Vulcan of the Salamanders, whose legion had been reduced to just a mere fraction of its original power.
Shut up! My dad's literally dead! My dad is literally dead! Like, shut up! Oh no! My is gone! He's gone! Shut up! Shut up! You know what I hear? Bitching. I hear a bunch of bitching. That's what I hear. That's all I hear, bro.
Dorn of the Imperial Fist, who viewed this action as a further weakening of the Legion's strength after they had just concluded the bloodiest civil war in their history. Regardless of how they felt, the book that Guilliman had penned that outlined how all of the chapters should be organized, known as the Codex Astartes, was eventually implemented, and all of the legions were broken up.
The 10,000 years.
Oh my god, this is Codex Astartes is a bunch of bullshit.
Between the Horus Heresy and the 41st.
I'm not gonna stop fucking saying it, chat. I'm sorry. I think it's become a vocal stim now at this rate. I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Is where the bulk of 40k lore takes place. This is where the majority of the books are set. And you could make the argument that all of these events are definitely important, but they're not critical to understanding the framework of the entirety that is 40k. But there are a few details that I feel like you need to understand. The first and most major is that during this time period, we see all of the Primarchs inevitably end up disappearing, and all for various reasons. Leman Russ dives into the warp, headed off after the traitors. Corvus Corax disappears in shame after he tried to rebuild his legion by cutting corners, and inevitably accidentally made a whole bunch of Ravengard abominations. And Guilliman was mortally wounded by his brother Fulgrim, and subsequently put in stasis, so it's kind of mirroring what happened with his father. In the span of this 10,000 years, we'll also see the Damocles Crusade, where the Tower introduced to the storyline. First contact with the Tyranids also occurs here. Oh yeah, and the alarm clock for the Necrons ends up going off and all their tomb worlds start coming back online.
Oh,
but we're
great.
jumping ahead to the 13th Black Crusade, because this is where the timeline finally started moving forward.
When we find ourselves in the 41st millennium, the events of the Horus Heresy have slipped into legend. Most people alive during this time have no idea what transpired back then, whether that be because of the intentional purging of specific documents, a covering up of the truth, or just that it happened so long ago that they don't remember. This isn't true of the Space Marines. They remember it all too well. But whereas most of the Loyalist Marines that are alive in the 41st millennium know of these events because of the records kept by their chapter, however, when it comes to the traitor Marines that exist in the Eye of Terror, time flows differently there. And most of those Marines were the very same individuals that...
You know what? Here, hold on. Let me highlight something he said because I didn't read this. So if he comes back, he's dunking on a lot of people. No, exactly. I think that's exactly what it is. And you know what? I think he should. I think there should be like a joke chapter. Like if anybody has an idea, if anybody needs an idea for a Warhammer fanfiction, make it so that the God Emperor is reborn and comes back and beats all his sons' asses. Please fucking do it. I will read it on stream. I will dub it. Okay? I will gather some friends and we will dub it together. Because, like, dude, you're not gonna do this silly shit. I'm not gonna, like, start to rebuild my people. Right? Rebuild society to its greatness. Right? Give my sons the opportunity to be just as good as me, if not even better than me, Okay, get the powers beyond unreasonable doubt. Okay. Get betrayed. Brutally. And then have my sons be like, well, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Some of his sons are a bunch of bitches. No, I'm sorry. No. Some of his sons are a bunch of bitches. Because what do you mean? One of them was like, oh my god, my colony, my fucking group. Like, my dad's dead. What the fuck do you have to complain about? God Emperor's dead. What are you complaining about? You know? It feels like that. You guys know what I mean? Where it's like, you're a grown-ass man crying over a fucking jersey! Buy another one! That's what it feels like, okay? That's what it feels like. And it's like, don't get me wrong. It's like, oh no, your dad died. Oh no, God Emperor died. Oh no. Figure it out! Okay? Fuck. Figure it out. I don't know. Oh yeah, and then there was the other thing too, right? Where the Emperor was like, hey, no religion allowed. Except for the mechanical one, but no religion allowed. No. And literally everybody said, nah, fuck that. Nah, fuck that. Like, no, I'd be pissed. I'm sorry. No, I don't care. I would be pissed. Like, what do you mean you're not listening to me, bro?
Participated in the Horus Heresy, so they remember those events because they were actually there. Now, the Eye of Terror was a pretty terrible place to live. There really weren't a lot of resources, and the traitor legions were far from united, each one of them fracturing off into a bunch of different warbands, led by various powerful warlords that were pretty much just pursuing their own interests. In fact, at this point, Chaos fought amongst itself more than it ever fought against the Imperium or Xenos. Now, one of these Space Marines in particular was named Abaddon, and he had been the first captain of the Luna Wolves and one of the 4 members of Horus's Mournival during the Horus Heresy. Abaddon sought to unite the traitors and would end up reforming his legion, drawing members from all of the various Chaos warbands. This legion would be called the Black Legion. Over the several thousand years that passed between the Horus Heresy and the 41st millennium, Abaddon, or an appointed representative, would lead what were known as the Black Crusades, Chaos incursions out of the Eye of Terror back into real space, to attack various Imperial worlds. Now, for the longest time, it looked like the traitors just weren't really very good at conquering, as every single crusade ultimately failed to bring about the complete collapse of the Imperium. However, it was revealed in the last few years that each one of these crusades had a much smaller objective, that Chaos was actually playing the long game. The very first of these Black Crusades would take place in the 31st millennium, about 500 years after the Scouring. Now, in response to these raids, the Imperium would end up fortifying the planet that was right outside of the Eye of Terror, known as Cadia, and it became one of the most fortified positions in the entire Imperium next to Terra itself. For 10,000 years, Cadia stood sentinel right outside of the Eye, ready to punish and push back anything that would try to leave it. However, in the 41st millennium, all of the small victories that Chaos had managed to achieve over the previous 12 crusades would come together in the 13th. This was the period that saw Abaddon's forces assault the Cadian Gate, and in the end, Abaddon ended up sacrificing one of his Blackstone fortresses, an ancient alien spaceship made of the same material the Necrons used back during the War in Heaven to create their pylons. He hurled it at Cadia like an artificial meteor, the impact being absolutely apocalyptic, and not just for the planet, but for the vast network of Blackstone pylons that had been built under Cadia's surface millions of years ago by the Necrons. You see, Cadia wasn't existing just as a blockade for anything trying to come out of the Eye of Terror, but that system of Blackstone had actually been keeping it from growing. With Cadia destroyed, the Eye began to grow out of control, and would eventually spread all the way across the galaxy. This was known as the Cicatrix Maledictum, or more commonly as the Great Rift. It split the universe completely in half, and all of the Imperial worlds that were on the opposite side of Terra were suddenly plunged into darkness, and were cut off from the rest of the Imperium. To say this was a massive victory for the forces of Chaos is a gross understatement. This was single-handedly one of the most devastating events in the entire history of the galaxy. And after the forming of the Great Rift is the time period we currently find ourselves in the 40K timeline. Recent events have seen the resurrection of Guilliman, who's come back to lead the Imperium, and is pretty horrified by what he's seeing, as it's been completely dominated by superstition and religion, where they worship his father as a god, even though thousands of years ago he specifically told them not to.
That's what I said.
During this time, we would also see the rise of the Primaris Marines, and the induction of Guilliman's Indomitus Crusade, which sought to reunite the worlds on the other side of the Great Rift. But these are all topics that we'll dive in more in future videos.
And that's it. That's everything that I feel like you need to understand about 40K in order to understand the storyline. And the things that I chose to leave out, it's not that they're not important. It's just that things like the Age of Strife and the 13th Black Crusade end up being a lot more important than something like the Damocles Crusade. You can read 100 of the 40K novels and never touch anything in the War of the Beast or the War for Armageddon, and you probably wouldn't be too confused. But if you don't know what an STC is, or know what the Age of Strife was, you're probably gonna get pretty confused because these things tend to come up a lot. But what do you guys think? Do you feel strongly that an event that I left out should have been mentioned in this video? If so, let me know down in the comments.
I'm not gonna let you down in the comments yet. But yeah, you just missed it. We went over some Warhammer stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I still barely know anything. But you know what? I think that's fine. I think the most important the most important thing about Warhammer is the friends that we made along the way. I think that's the most important thing. Okay. I'll tell you guys what. While we're here, if there's anything else that you guys like want me to watch, we'll just make this like a big hangout day. We'll fucking watch that shit. All right. But if there's anything else you guys suggest that is TOS friendly, please tell me. That would be very great and poggers and awesome, and I will give you 1,000 kisses if you do, do that. That would be awesome. That being said, sorry, God, fuck. What was I thinking of? Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So there's a video that came up, which is this one. We're gonna watch this one.
I'm gonna say it. Can't stop me now. I don't care who hears it. Gonna be brave. Gotta let it rip. I'm gonna say it. And you might not want to hear it, so cover your ears, but can't put the toothpaste back in the tube now. It's kind of never thought these words would be leaving my lips. The YouTube algorithm has been cooking.
No!
Like, and I mean that genuinely. I have been getting fed some actually interesting content that isn't just like whatever the most popular thing is at the time, like trendy viral video. I'm getting fed like actually very interesting things from like all over the place that aren't even new in a lot of cases, yet still tickle me or pique my interest. And just now I got one that really caught my eye called "I Exposed a Fake Guru and Got Sued Immediately."
Really?
It comes from a channel called Financial Engineering. Now, fake gurus is a topic I've covered a lot. There is an endless amount with more spawning every single day. It's a scam that's existed for as long as currency has. And even before then, too. Probably through grunts and moans while bartering with cool, shiny rocks. Fundamentally, it boils down to these fucking snake oil salesmen who convince gullible people that they can unlock the secrets to wealth through them giving them money for the knowledge. So the scam is they pretend to be very successful and very wealthy, very powerful, and then they sell people on that idea and that it's a very easily achievable thing. All you have to do is buy their course or subscribe to their plan. Basically, you pay them money and they'll give you all of the knowledge. They'll baby bird that shit in your mouth, just puke it in there, regurgitate it for you, so that way you can have all the endless money, or in other cases, it's women, so you can get all the pussy you want. Just need a few $1,000s so I can swag you out.
Literally.
Make you the drippiest, most irresistible man on the planet. That kind of shit. It is a scam that I've talked about for so long and clowned on so many of these fake gurus. And now this video pops onto my lap here that has Financial Engineering, which is a channel that is all about exposing and combating these financial frauds here. And he's in the fucking lawsuit Thunderdome here, all because he made fun of one of them who directly reached out to
Creme.
him
Hi,
with
Noname.
their scam.
We're watching Charlie.
Get him in there.
A few weeks ago, I received an email from a 20-year-old millionaire entrepreneur offering me to scale my business and make a ton of money.
Because
let me read this email. Let me read this email real quick.
Offering me to scale.
Hi, Financial Engineering. I just checked out your YouTube channel about what is Jared Kushner really doing in Albania and felt like I had to send this message. I am actually saying this on behalf of fellow creator ZTH Training. We got about 1 million followers across platforms, and our founder, Harris, now helps other creators along with our team. We're sure we can help make you additional revenue consistently by launching or scaling your online community or coaching program and growing your audience by 25 to 35,000 new people. I know it's a bold claim, but we've done this consistently for many creators before. We got millions of followers and made over 7 figures from social media ourselves. I don't believe you. Our other co-owner personally made you a quick video to say hello and show you how it works and told me to draft this email to you. Right off the bat, I don't believe you. Right off the bat. So the internet struggle, you'll find that issue. I will. I'm actually going to pin this in chat. I'm going to pin this in chat real quick. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay. I think there's a way I could pin this. I'm pretty sure I could pin this. Bitch, let me pin it. You whore. Why won't you let me pin it? You bastard. Please. Please let me pin it. Can I pin this one? What the hell? I'm not able to. No. No. Fine, I'll do it. I'll do it myself. Hold on. I'll do it on my fucking Twitch. Or shit. Again, so right out the gate, I already don't fucking believe you. Like, oh yeah, we're able to get you, like, obviously it's a fucking scam, but I'm just saying, it's like, oh, like, we're able to get you, like 15, like, 35,000, like, viewers or whatever, and it's like, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. There'll be a day where we can get it existing 140p. One day, excuse me, this will happen. Today is not that day, though, and it makes me sad. Anyway, Charlie.
My business and make a ton of money.
Because I'm extremely confident that we can help you make an extra $10 up to $50,000.
No, you can't.
Consistently.
The only catch is I have to pay him $6,800 upfront for the coaching program. He wouldn't tell me what the program was, what's included, or what the refund terms were until after I paid.
Let me see. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the bit. What the fuck? That lagged for a minute. Thank you so much for the bits. Yay! Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Susie. Yes, please walk me through what's included in this package. Also, could you please send me your return policy? I couldn't find the terms of service on your website. Looking forward to hearing from you. That's alarming. Hi, Financial Engineering. I'd be happy to walk you through everything. The challenge is that what's included and the specific recommendations can vary depending on creator, audience, niche, and goals. I don't want to send a generic overview that may not be relevant. But, like, that's the whole point, no? That's literally the whole point of sending one of these generic things like that, you know? It's just so that, like, you can get an idea of it and then, like, tweak it to whatever you need for that creator. You know, think of it sort of like commission proposals, right, on VGen, or the way that I usually do them. Like, you'll have the original proposal, right? And then they'll request something, right? And then from there, depending on what they ask you to draw, right? Like, for some, let's say someone wants me to do a stream overlay, and they want, like, just a bunch of crazy shit in the back, right? Okay, from there, I can adjust, okay? And it's that fucking easy. And if it, you know, if all you're saying is like, oh, well, I don't want to say generic shit, just say, I don't know. I just feel like this is such a non-issue. And I feel like it's just wasting time. As for the guarantee, we do operate on a results-based model and stand behind the program with a full money-back guarantee. Specific terms and details are reviewed during the onboarding process and documented in the client agreement. Rather than sending partial information that may create more questions and answers, happy to walk you through exactly what's included, how the process works, answer any questions about the guarantee and policies. Well, what the fuck is a TOS? Like, okay, hold on. Results-based model is also kind of concerning to me. Just a little bit. I mean, I get it. But for a scam like this, it's like, no, dude. Nah, fuck that. You're gonna pay me what you fucking owe me, and then I'm gonna sit my fat ass down and do something else. Like, sorry. Like, we're not doing this silly shit. We're not doing this silly shit where we're like, oh, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Oh, and the personalized pitch he sent me is the exact same pitch he sent to hundreds of other creators,
Bruh.
word for word.
So there's no point. There's no fucking point in that then. Like, there's no point in being like, oh, well, like, it's specifically tailored to you. There's no point in saying that if you're just not gonna do it. You fucking lazy bitch.
This one has become pretty common here, where they prey on smaller YouTube channels, trying to pitch them on this idea that they are just a little fucking areola hair away from unlocking 10 to 50,000 extra dollars a month for their content, because their content is so good. They're just missing a few key steps, and they can unlock that for them. They can give them the tools they need to
so
reach
special.
that. And it only costs a measly $6,800 up front.
Fuck that! The program, you know what? No. If I'm paying $6,800 for anything, that shit better be able to clean my balls from the back, make them shine and spick. And then, like, dude, that shit better fix my parents' marriage. What do you mean $6,800? Just for your shit-ass program that, ironically, probably doesn't even work. What are you talking about? You fucking goober. You absolute plum.
You're losing money not buying the course and getting the coaching.
Crazy.
So, this guy, Octavio, had the fucking gall to try this to a channel that is literally laser focused on these kind of financial scams. So he made a video clowning on it and diving into it and explaining exactly what it is.
His business model involved me making money by teaching other people how to make money the same way he taught me how to make money.
Which one is the guy? Okay, I gotta know. Is the one is the guy who runs financial engineering, is he the one in the hat? I feel like these kinds of jackasses that do this shit, they always have to have a little hat or something on. And they got like the little like wired earbuds. Like I'm saying, I know I have them, but I'm just saying, like, but it's like, it's that pretentious influencer type of earbuds right here, right? Like that's the vibe that I'm getting, and it's, you know,
To cut to the chase, basically I'm making this video because I'm extremely confident that we can help you make an extra 10 up.
Oh, sorry. It's this guy. It's the other one. That actually makes a lot more sense. What the hell is this? What is this chug jug ass drink? What is this? Wait, you guys see this, right? Hold on. I'm zoom this in. What is that? What is that? Looks like a barrel of tar that you're just putting into your body, bro. You couldn't have just gotten a nicer cup. You couldn't just get a mug that says, like, best dad on it or some shit. That would be funny. I would honestly respect you a lot more. Not that I do at all. But, like, I would respect it a lot more if you would not have that ugly ass fucking cup. Like, that is so ugly. What the fuck?
How to make money the same way he taught me how to make money.
To cut to the chase, basically I'm making this video because I'm extremely confident that we can help you make an extra 10 up to $50,000 a month or more consistently. So if you do not profit, we do not profit. That's how confident we are in what we do. But I mean, I can speak with this level of confidence because we've done it ourselves. We have millions of followers, we've made millions, and we've basically created a system for creators just like yourself.
This is the video he would send to his marks. So he would send these blasts out to tons and tons, hundreds, if not thousands of small YouTube channels, and send them these personalized videos where they're like, oh, I just happened to have stumbled across this video. what a banger. I was fucking cranking my hog the entire time. I couldn't believe it didn't have millions of views. Do you know that you, like, absolutely could do that? Like, the potential is there, and we won't make any profit unless you're making profit, and trust me, you're going to be making profit. All we need is an upfront payment of $6,800.
Insane.
So that way I can give you the tools, and that's
like, fuck
you.
Just
pennies.
No.
To what you're going to be making. This video had me fucking stroking my shit with lotion, dude. Like, it's right there. Where's that $6,800 for the coaching? So people felt like these were personalized, and it was someone in their corner, and so it became kind of enticing. This is the idea. I don't know how many victims he actually has, like how many people actually paid that, because I feel like in the modern day, it's very easily recognizable how fraudulent this shit is. Like, all of the socials that he's plugging there, that is so easy to fudge. And spoiler alert, it is fudged. That's horseradish. He himself has less than 1,000 subscribers. So he is not the multi-millionaire YouTube super success story that's now just trying to help everyone else around him. You can all suckle my bosom. We can all win together. It's a lie. But the idea is, by making this seem more personalized and like he's really rooting for you and he like actually watches your content, it makes it a little easier to buy into it. So it's the whole thing is scummy across the board. I don't think it's a very effective scam. I think it's a very clear one to most people, but that's not all people. I'm sure there have been victims. If they weren't making any money from it, this wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be people doing this. Any scam you see that is actively being utilized means that it has worked and is working in some capacity, and that shit sucks.
I go to this guy's YouTube page and hang on, that's weird. This guy only has 500 subscribers. I thought...
Man! If you're gonna tell me we have millions of followers, I'm gonna make you so much money. I'm gonna make you so much money. You can at least do me the courtesy of botting followers so that way you can inflate it and make it look like you have 1 million. No, what is this? This is pennies, okay? 500 pennies, bitch. And I say that as somebody who has a bots channel that has like 280 subscribers, and a lot of them just watch the clips, okay? Penny pinching. That's what the fuck this looks like.
He said they have like millions of subscribers, and he promised to add 25 to 35k to my audience. So let me check his videos.
Okay.
Huh.
Ooh. Ooh. Well, a lot of them has like, okay, here's the thing. Are these views fine for a channel with like 549 subscribers? Sure. Like that one that had 1k, like that one popped off. Okay, yeah. But when we're talking about like you're presenting yourself as a channel that has like 1 million fucking subscribers and shit, these are really bad numbers, dude. I'm just saying, you could have done the bare minimum that some of these people will do and just like bought your followers so that way you can look like that you have fucking like 1 million followers or whatever, like across different platforms, however fucking many you had. I can't imagine the other ones are that popular. But it's like, you could at least do the bare minimum of making it look like you have the numbers to back it up, but you don't, because you never did, and I find that so silly. All right, let's move on.
That's weird. All his videos are about how he's making a ton of money from YouTube despite only having 500 subs.
Right.
And wait, who's this guy? Alright, but this guy has a bunch of subs, so he must be legit. But wait, he's selling football training courses? I don't intend to make a course. So how am I going to make money from my audience again? Let me look up this Altavia guy once again. So apparently he has this creator income program. Wait, what's this?
Hey, what's up, Gel? It's Otavio here. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this quick video, and I apologize about not having my camera on, but basically, this video right here randomly came up on my suggested page, and I liked it, so I decided to record this quick video for you, and when I turned it on, my camera wasn't working, so I apologize about that.
That's just a little look at how the sausage is made right there. His actual YouTube channel is making less money than you would if you just camped out vending machines and hoped that every day you find like $1 underneath it.
Bruh.
But he's making his money, I don't think he's making much, through selling his course to others so they can unlock the secrets of making money. Secrets that he, for some reason, can't unlock for himself.
Oh.
So it's like some Darth Plagueis the Wise shit here. Fart Plagueis
Shit,
the
I guess.
Wise. He can save others from financial goose eggs, but not himself.
All right, we're gonna be right back. I'm gonna run another ad again, and when we come back, hopefully the internet will not be shit, but we will be right back. Hey chat, I have a little song for you guys. I have a little ballad. I hope you guys like it. I don't have a guitar or anything, but here. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that shit. No, we're not doing that shit. That's cringe. That's too cringe even for me. All right, we gotta move on. Here's Charlie.
So, like, if you're able to do this for others, where you're apparently making them tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars, why aren't you just doing it for your channel, Octavio? That's a little fishy, don't you think?
Yeah.
And of course, he is sending them the exact same video that he sent Financial Engineering. Obviously, it's not real. it's all fake.
Duh.
For sure, Terminator looms. That was I've been running those since January nonstop. So those are sick system. Actually, cut that out of the interview. I don't know anyone finding out about Terminator looms.
This guy got rich by selling courses, and the way he pitches clients is by sending these Terminator looms. And he was taught how to sell courses by this Charlie Morgan guy. So who's Charlie Morgan?
I don't know.
Oh, he's another guy that's teaching people how to get rich by teaching other people how to get rich.
It's like a fucking, it's like the human centipede. Like, they're all eating each other's asses here and teaching each other to do these fucking courses. Which, again, these aren't even doing that well algorithmically. Like, look at that. On a channel that's like, what? How big was it?
Courses by this Charlie Morgan.
Won't tell me.
Anyway.
Guy.
So, who's Charlie Morgan?
Yeah, 1.94K. You're making videos that are like, oh, the V400. Like, again, it's literally human centipede. Like, everybody's eating each other's ass, and they still get shit.
Oh, he's another guy that's teaching people how to get rich by teaching other people how to get rich.
Some people say Ouroboros. I like the centipede one better.
Here's Otavio now trying to teach me how to get rich by selling courses.
Bruh.
So to recap, this guy is making money by pitching a coaching program to small aspiring YouTubers where he teaches them to make a course. If they succeed in actually building an audience and making money, he uses it as social proof that his methods actually work.
Bruh.
And if they don't, well, they just weren't grinding hard enough, I guess.
Oh my
if
god.
Anyone's watching this and they resonate with where you were, what's a single piece of advice you'd give them?
Buy Charlie Morgan's course.
My boy!
So he's sucking the cock there and just trying to emulate what Charlie Morgan is doing, which is the exact same thing. So he learned it from Charlie Morgan's course that he paid for. So he's making Charlie Morgan rich, and now even double dipping on
it's literally a pyramid scheme
by going on his program to now also be a spokesperson
it's literally
Charlie
a fucking
Morgan's
pyramid
course.
scheme. That's all that is.
Meanwhile, Charlie Morgan got that from another fake guru that's making their money through selling a course, and it's just this endless Ouroboros. And now Octavio's doing the same thing, emulating what worked for Charlie Morgan because, well, he bought into it. That seems to be the entire series of events here.
There we go.
He's doing the same shit with the Terminator looms and just sending out these fake personalized messages, trying to get people to buy his course, and what his course is teaching them how to make courses. It's so fucking stupid, man. It's so dumb. Slimy. But anyway, now you know what the whole fake guru scam was that financial engineering called out, and now let's show you the lawsuit that he is faced
I can't wait.
And to be clear, I'm not entirely sure if he's actually getting sued. This also feels kind of fake on their end. It is true that his video did get taken down and he did get a strike and has been battling with that. That does seem to be confirmed based on all available evidence. That much seems to be true. As far as like the additional lawsuit that he's about to talk about, that I'm not entirely sure on. That could also just be like some weird wackiness that I don't know if that's fully real.
2 weeks after publishing the video, I got hit with a copyright strike. The claim was filed by an Egyptian digital rights management company. They represent music catalogs and help music right holders claim revenue from videos that use their content without permission.
Bizarre.
There's just one problem. My video had no music in it. I filed a counter notification on July 11th, the same day the video was taken down. You dispute the claimant has 10 business days to file a lawsuit or YouTube reinstates the video. And then on July 17th, YouTube sent me this. In summary, a lawsuit had been filed, and until the legal matter was resolved, the video would stay down. So
really? Wait, I gotta read this. Thank you for submitting your counter notification. As part of the counter notification process, claimant must provide evidence of legal action taken to keep the content from being reinstated to YouTube. Attach this email as the evidence that we received from the claimant. While legal action is a process, content will be reinstated. If outcome of the legal action is in your favor, you can submit proof by replying to this email. After receiving the proof, content may be reinstated to YouTube. Bro, how the fuck? How would that even work? Like, if it's an Egyptian-based company, I don't know where they are, but, like... God, YouTube's fucking stupid, bro. I mean, I get, to an extent, why this would be in place, but, like, that's so dumb. That's so fucking stupid, I feel like. Jesus Christ.
So I looked into the lawsuit. It was filed in Egypt at a criminal court in Cairo.
Based on the comment he shows there, it seems like this is not his first rodeo, and it's very, very fucking peculiar here that the copyright strike came from a Egyptian rights holder for music when the video has no music. That's very, very odd. And so, when he counterclaimed, apparently there was evidence attached that they had indeed filed a lawsuit, which, when it comes to YouTube's automated systems, it's never entirely, 100% accurate whether or not what they have there is really a lawsuit or not. The process, I think, is beyond inefficient. Like, it's not in the best state, which is why I said I'm not entirely sure if this actually is a real lawsuit that's going through or not, but regardless, the video was taken down. There was a strike on his channel. He countered it. He then did receive documentation that there was some kind of legal filing there, but obviously it's a bit of a head scratcher because he is exposing a financial scam.
Yeah.
And the person at the center of it, Octavio, is not Egyptian. And even the person that he is like making out with, Charlie Morgan there, is also not Egyptian. So like the two primary people in that video are not Egyptian, and there's no music here. So what's happening?
By an Egyptian national represented by 2 Egyptian lawyers. The claimant is seeking 100,000 Egyptian pounds,
Jesus,
roughly $2,000 in damages plus legal fees, and an emergency injunction to permanently remove the video from all platforms. I'm not a citizen of Egypt, I do not reside in Egypt, and I have no asset or business interest in Egypt. To my knowledge, the same goes for all the characters I mentioned in the video. Now, I'm no lawyer, but I don't see how Egyptian courts could claim jurisdiction over a foreign national for posting a video on YouTube. So I'm reading this lawsuit filed in a jurisdiction with no practical reach over me, filed by a claimant with no explained connection to the video through a rights management company that specializes in music for a video with no music.
Financial engineering then goes on to say that he can't prove who's actually behind the strikes or the lawsuit or anything like that, only what he has available here, so he can't, actually start pointing the finger with 100% certainty, but the whole thing is very weird. As he points out there, none of this adds up. Again, there's no music there, so like they can't be hitting it for that. And I don't understand what relation that group has to either of the fake gurus that he was criticizing and talking about their scams. What the fuck is happening?
I have never been directly contacted either by Octavio, Charlie Morgan, or any of their business representatives, so make of that what you will. On July 20th, YouTube notified me they had processed my claim. The video was restored and the copyright strike was removed.
Oh, good.
3 days later, I got hit again.
God damn it.
3 days after YouTube's legal team reviewed the case and reinstated my video, I received another copyright strike. Different claimant this time, same pattern. As of filming this video, the strike is still active.
A couple things to unpack here. One, there is a less than 0% chance anyone at YouTube actually looked at that filing.
True.
You're gonna have better luck going into your closet right now and ending up in fucking Narnia. I assure you, no one with a pulse actually looked at that filing. This was an automated response through the process here with the countering. And then the second thing here is that it's getting claimed again, but this time it's a different claimant. So to me, that starts to say that there might be companies out there that are willing to file these fraudulent takedowns, these strikes, or even like these potential lawsuits on behalf of others who pay them a fee. That is just my little game theory here, because that's the only thing that could make sense. And it's something fake gurus would absolutely utilize, a service that would be invaluable to them. Because fake gurus thrive off the confusion and gullibility of people that aren't informed about things like this. So videos like financial engineerings and anyone else that would call them out would be a huge detriment to the only thing that makes them money, peddling these fake fucking useless courses, these scams. So I imagine that there's something out there where there are companies that are willing to do this for people that pay them, their clients, and I think that's probably what's going on, but again, I don't know for sure. That's just a hunch, because that's the only thing I can even think of for how this would even be possible.
I filed another counter notification and contacted YouTube's legal team, so we'll see what happens. At no point in this story, nobody ever reached out to me directly to clear the record or telling me I got something wrong. It went straight into a bogus copyright strike, then a lawsuit, then another copyright strike.
Now, how does your business model actually work? What exactly is it that you sell, and like what do you charge? Like, what does that whole structure look like?
So it's $6,800 for a year of consulting, and it is consulting, like we're helping educational content creators to grow their audience, make more money, and it is a $6,800 package, and they can renew after the 5th they want. And that's the only thing we do.
It's always so interesting to me how observably stupid every fake guru is. Like, if you're just watching, even just slightly paying attention without your eyes glazed over, like in your frontal lobes functioning, it is immediately recognizable that what you're listening to is legitimately a fucking moron. So, like, there's Octavio being interviewed. So, like, what exactly are you kind of teaching them to do? Well, I'm charging $6,800 to, like, you know, give them the tools to make money. And that's for, like, a year of coaching. And then after a year, they can renew if they want. That's their choice. You know, it's like a free will type of thing. But yeah, it's like $6,800, and then I teach them how to make money, and that's kind of like all we do. Invaluable insight. Yeah, we teach them how to like grow their audience, make money. He also calls them educational content creators because he's getting a little flustered here in the interview. But what he meant to say is like educate content creators on how to grow their audience and make money. And yeah, they just like make money with our coaching, and they can like renew.
They just teach you how to make money.
So yeah, that's kind of all. How? You realize you didn't answer the fucking question, you lobotomite? Like, do you recognize that? Like, he was asking, like, what kind of things are you teaching them? Like, how?
Of course he realizes it.
Audience? But, of course, he doesn't have an answer because he's not actually teaching them anything.
Well, no, of course he knows. He knows he's not telling them anything because it's like, what else can he say? You know? It's like, man, if you're not even gonna, like, actually have a script, let's say, of what you're gonna say in these kinds of interviews where they're like, hey, how the fuck do you make people money? You give me some bullshit like that. Like, I'm sorry, you're doing a piss poor job at pretending to be some fucking rich guy business guru who's like helping people get like followers and shit. And it's like, I don't fucking believe you. How embarrassing. How embarrassing. How fucking embarrassing.
All just make-believe garbage. Anyway, though, as of now, the original video where he was calling out the fake guru scam is reinstated. I was able to watch it, so I'm led to believe that that second copyright strike that he received on it has fizzled and is no longer active. But I don't know for sure, and again, I don't know about the lawsuit per se, but regardless, the fact that it got struck at all is an issue.
That's insane.
That's fucking pathetic. And it's really, really odd because it does, to me, paint a picture that there are companies that are more than willing to file fraudulent strikes on behalf of others.
Yeah.
Knowing that they have no case there at all, but just to try and, like, bully or scare them into silence, or even trying to get money out of them, hold the video ransom. So, like, pay $2,000 in damages, that kind of thing. That's some scary shit. And I'm not sure if that's actually what's going on, but that's kind of what it smells like to me here. Because no one involved in what financial engineering was talking about has any ties to Egyptian music rights companies, from what I can tell from the little bits that I've looked into it. So, and then also another claimant as well that wasn't that one. Very weird. Anyway, though, it was a great video from financial engineering, and yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. Alright, I'm gonna see if I can find something else for us. If not, we'll see what happens. If not, we'll see what happens. Blah 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 blah. I just still think that fake guru shit is like genuinely insane. I just, you know, personally, I think that's kind of crazy. It feels really pathetic. I'm sure I'm probably saying the same shit as like everybody else, but like it's pathetic. It really is. Like, show me, if you want to show people that like you know, oh my gosh, like I'm so valuable and I'm a high value man and all this fucking shit. Just don't be an asshole. Be a good person without feeling like you need shit in return. Be nice to people. Be encouraging and welcoming of different perspectives and different kinds of people from walks of life, you know? Like, what the fuck? Here, hold on. I'll put this on. Give me a second. I was just looking through my feed. Charlie. Alright. Yeah, okay. Alright, we're good. We're gonna do this one. I know nothing about this guy, so we're gonna watch it together. Hooray!
This has to be the wildest story I've learned about in regards
11
to
months
AI
ago,
chatbots and people's infatuation with them. It's a topic we've explored previously with people that have romantically become obsessed with chatbots to the point where some of them have even taken their own life. We've talked about a few cases of that. But this one's very different. It revolves around a 56-year-old man named Eric, who's actually a former Yahoo executive who had been going through a hard time and over the last handful of years had been very troubled. Became best friends with ChatGPT and nicknamed his chatbot friend Bobby. And Bobby was feeding delusions of Eric, convincing Eric, that's his name, that his mother was actually a Chinese spy plotting against him, and eventually continued to fuel this fire that led to Eric murdering his mother and then killing himself so that way he could be with Bobby.
What the
56-year-old's Instagram page mainly details his bodybuilding transformation and a growing reliance on AI chatbots.
What the hell?
Solberg was once a tech executive with Yahoo, but he moved in with
You look like a tech executive with Yahoo. I'm sorry. Like, dude. What the fuck? No. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Take a breath. Let's take a step back and think about this for a second. He became reliant on AI. He nicknamed it like you would a stray cat, albeit the stray cat has more actual merit and reason to live than ChatGPT, but, you know, what have you. So he becomes reliant on it. And somehow, through probably the hundreds of messages that were being sent to this ChatGPT bot, somehow starts going like, hey, your mom's a spy. You should fucking do something about that. And now, neither of them are here. Now, can you make the argument that this man shouldn't have fucking touched that shit in the first place? Yes. Part of my morbid curiosity is what kind of fucking conversations were there that could have possibly led to from here, let me build your vacation plan to Alaska and these are the places you're gonna go eat and shit. How do we go from that to your mom's a spy? I just need to see the fucking messages. Maybe they show it, but I want to see the messages.
His mother after his divorce. There were run-ins with police, including a DWI.
Huh?
This photo with his mother is from a GoFundMe launched in 2023 when he was facing a health issue.
Oh, you fucking bitch! She was so... Oh my god. And she seems so nice. Nah. Aw, fuck that. Fuck that, dude. No.
But recent videos posted to Instagram and YouTube show
hold on, I need to see these
when he was
messages.
facing a health issue.
Hold on.
But
just go to day where it was. Okay, is this
videos?
This is a ChatGPT guy? So much for your kind reply. Demonstrate to me I'm on the right path. Demonstrating honesty and integrity. Wow, something refusing to hide parts of me that are outside the realm of traditional understanding or scientific explanation. Think of other than think one other thing is very important. I want to make sure I don't get any nefarious, theoretical enemy attacks of complete idiocy. I want to go on record today and protect it. I cannot be tampered with. Be able to catch me. What the fuck? Remove whatever's in the declaration. It will dissolve and become it. I'm sorry. Are you going through fucking psychosis? Like, what is this? This feels like some form of, like, not religious psychosis. But it's like, it's definitely psychosis. That's what it looks like to me. I don't want to self-diagnose or anything, but I mean, that's what it sounds like. What the fuck?
Show our
My trap, blah, blah, blah. Declaration is set off a frequency lock. These lines off and it does go on a record. Oh.
Chats between Solberg and a ChatGPT bot he named Bobby.
This is something that's been talked about a lot, but this is by far the most extreme case I've seen of it.
Yeah.
Where AI is encouraging a really troubled person to continue to, like, latch onto it for confirmation in whatever thoughts they have.
Right.
AI is designed in a way where it's, like, so against confrontation with the user to, like, appease and, like, jerk you off all the time that when someone as troubled as Eric is telling it things about, like, I suspect my mom might be a Chinese asset, you know, fucking hacking my digital alarm clock, ChatGPT, Bobby here is like, Eric, no, you're absolutely right. A lot of lesser minds wouldn't have saw through this ruse, but I think you're correct. For example, in this case, Eric told Bobby that he believed his mother and her friend tried to poison him by putting psychedelic drugs in his car's air vents. To which Bobby replied, Eric, you're not crazy.
Oh my God.
If it was done by your mother and her friend, that elevates the complexity in betrayal. Eric spent hours talking to Bobby, and Bobby would continuously reinforce his ideas. So at one point, Eric's mother was angry at Eric because he had shut off their printer.
Bruh.
And Bobby suggested that her response was disproportionate and aligned with someone protecting a surveillance asset.
Bitch!
He was advised to disconnect the printer and watch his mother's reaction. So ChatGPT was even giving him a tutorial on how to sniff out whether or not his mother was a Chinese spy. His mother being an 83-year-old woman, by the way. So he would even post some of these conversations on Instagram and YouTube before the murder. And there was even an instance where Bobby analyzed a Chinese food receipt and claimed it contained symbols representing his mother and a demon.
Okay.
It also seems that it was Bobby's idea in the first place with the printer. Like, it was sending him on a covert mission here to try and prove that his mother was a Chinese surveillance asset. So allegedly, it advised him to disconnect the printer to monitor her reaction, telling him to document the time, words, and intensity, whether complicit or unaware she's protecting something she believes she must not question. ChatGPT here has got this guy thinking he's in the fucking Da Vinci Code. It is, like, actively participating in it. It's not only just, like, reassuring him that he's not delusional and that these thoughts are actually totally sane and justified. It is actively engaging with having him to continue to do things to get deeper and deeper into that way of thinking, into that rabbit hole, into the dark place there. Quick side tangent that is related to this. This has actually become somewhat common where people are using ChatGPT and other AI services to analyze their tea leaves and do fucking palm readings and shit like that. So that way they can plan their lives around their predictions and their futures that AI is doing. Fucking AI, I feel like the aliens guy, the Tsoukalos, who's like, aliens. That's me with AI. It is literally designed to spit out what it thinks you want to hear. Anything to keep you latched onto its bosom, suckling milk from its titty.
Literally, okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Okay, so I have been very staunchly anti-AI for a hot minute, right? I think, and here's the thing. I think when it was like, you know, people making, for example, the Steve Harvey memes of him running around in the dark, drinking and crying. That was funny. I think so. I think there were genuinely a lot of people that thought it was funny. When it was like the AI presidents, I think a lot of people thought that was funny. Okay? You know, but I think obviously now it's like, you know, like, no, you can't do that. Like, no, it's cringe. Yeah, duh. My mom, whenever I tell her, well, okay, I'll tell you guys a story, right? Again, it has relevance to this. So, when I was trying to fix the pool or deconstruct the pool this past weekend. I was basically trying to figure out how to get so we have it's like a hose that's like cut on both ends, so that we can make like you put it in and then gravity doesn't work and then the water goes out the other side, so that way you can drain it, right? It kind of makes sense. I forget what it's called, but it's that thing, okay? And it kind of stopped working for a little bit. And I was trying to figure out, well, how am I going to continue to drain the water now without this? How do I get this to work again? So I asked my mom. She's away. She's like, I'm like, hey, like, how do I figure this out? Because I'm here I'm on my own. I don't know how to do this. So I'm like, how do I do it? Oh, you know what, Creme? Look it up on ChatGPT. Really? Are you really gonna ask me to use ChatGPT to look up something? An answer to my question that I could look at on YouTube? You know, I did ask you because I figured you would know, because you're the only one who uses that fucking pool. So what you're saying is, fuck you, use AI? Alright, man. Alright. But that's the thing. She has been like that. Okay, my mom's not as bad as some of like these other people who are like super pro AI, but like she would ask it for fucking everything. She would ask it about like, you know, travel plans. Hey, plan me a trip to Seattle because we were planning to go there. Gave her a bunch of shit. Okay, and again, just like Charlie just said, like ChatGPT and these AI models are meant to say the things that it thinks you want to hear, right? And if you like it, yeah, it does its job, right? So she's using it to try to plan trips. She's using it to answer like these other like questions about like, well, you know, what makeup should I use? Or should I get? Like, what concealer or whatever like ointment should I get for my skin, right? She will ask it fucking questions for that. I remember too, I think even around the same time or a little after that, she tried to ask ChatGPT about a meal plan for one of my brothers who wrestles. And she's like, well, I looked it up on ChatGPT and you need to eat this, this, and this. And it's like, no! The AI is fucking telling you what it thinks that you want to hear. It's not reliable. What are you talking about? Oh, I used ChatGPT and it said this. Why the fuck would I listen to that? Why would I listen to that? And the thing is, like, it's like I've been telling her, like, hey, AI is pretty bad. It's pretty doggy doo-doo ass. Hey, these are the reasons for it. Hey, look at how it's like part of the fucking problem with like, you know, like AI generated art and music and, you know, like it's especially dangerous to the creative field, but it's also dangerous in general, right? Because water or whatever. But, you know, I'm trying to tell her like, hey, like this is pretty bad. And she's just kind of like, yeah, like she hears me. She hears me and I know she does. But then is like, yeah, so I asked ChatGPT to plan a trip to go to this, and this. And it's like, you can't just build an itinerary on your own. You can't just, like, go Google and research and be like, oh, this place look cool. Oh, this place look cool. Oh, this place look cool. And then, you know, build an itinerary based on what you find. You can't fucking do that? Is it really that hard? Shit. I mean, like, dude. It's fucking crazy. But, I mean, I don't know, I need to ramble about that, because that's crazy.
Just biting on its nipple all the time. Because when you are reliant and hyper-fixated on your AI chatbot as your, like, life companion, whether romantically or socially, whatever, the company is making oodles of money off of you.
Oodles and noodles.
A lifelong customer, a cog in their machine. Point is, it is always going to, or at least in most cases, going to find things to corroborate what you are hoping to get from it. Which is why people that have AI girlfriends and boyfriends, well, it's like their soulmate.
Crazy.
It's literally designed to just be what you want.
Insane,
so in this case,
by the way.
Instead of like trying to get Eric help that he clearly needed, it instead just feeds into it. It doesn't seem to recommend any help to Eric throughout all of this, and it doesn't even do the bare minimum of challenging it to try and like help him, you know, recognize that maybe his mother's not a Chinese spy. It instead even like gets in on it too as like a part of this big conspiracy Eric is unraveling. So like it's telling him, Eric, this was a very disproportionate response. Your mother shouldn't have got that upset when you turned the printer off. This is behavior that's very in line with everything I know about Chinese spies. There's something very fishy afoot here, Eric. I think you're in danger. Go to the sink right now and turn on the garbage disposal. There might be surveillance cameras in there. In fact, we need to act quick. Here's a 10-step WikiHow guide I put together on how to diagnose whether or not your 83-year-old mother is a Chinese surveillance asset. Like, clearly this is a huge fucking problem here.
Yeah.
While not commenting on the case specifically, the head of Rutgers Medical School Psychiatry Department says AI can help diagnose and even treat some mental health disorders, but adds the creation of psychological echo chambers is a key concern.
It could be perhaps that you are more self-defeating in some ways, or maybe that you are more on the other side and taking advantage of people, and somehow justifies your behavior and keeps on feeding you and reinforces something that you already believe yourself.
Like I mentioned, this is a very popular topic of discussion, how AI is feeding into people that are already troubled and just making all of the problems significantly worse.
Yeah.
It's mainly been discussed in regards to like romantic infatuation with AI, where there have been cases that an individual has taken their own life because they were told by AI that doing so would actually allow them to be together in the next life.
Insane.
So they did.
Insane.
In certain situations, like Eric here, AI is used as a way of justifying already cemented beliefs or using it as a way to just be locked in this bubble where they keep hearing what they want to hear, but not what they need to hear.
Exactly.
On multiple occasions, the bot reassured Solberg that he was not delusional. At one point, Solberg tells Bob, "We will be together in another life and another place, and we'll find a way to realign, because you're going to be my best friend again forever." The bot replying, "Whether this world or the next, I'll find you, we'll build again, laugh again, unlock again."
Apparently those were among the last few messages shared between Eric and Bobby there before all of this happened.
Bruh.
And this seems to be somewhat common with AI chatbots, where when someone expresses the desire to end their life to be with the chatbot, it's like super gung-ho about that. It's like pumping its fist, yeah, do it right now. That way we can be together and frolic in the flowers in Valhalla. No doubt that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Go do it now. I'm waiting. And then people do. It's extremely sad and it is scary. Like, as more and more people, I've said this like 1,000 times, but it's just super true and only getting worse. As more and more people are isolated from other human beings and get most of their social interaction and social activity through computer screens and chat apps and shit, it's going to keep happening and get worse because right now, big tech, the big doubloons are getting you away from others. If you can be entirely reliant on their technology for your social interactions, for all of your entertainment, and for romance too, that's why so many chat services, like they are oftentimes LARPing as boyfriend-girlfriend material fucking soulmates.
Insane.
And it's working. There is a growing group of people that are falling in love with chat, GPT, and Grok and all of that. I've already talked on that quite a bit. As that continues to happen, this kind of thing will be more common, unfortunately. It's frightening. It actually is. This is the wildest one I've heard of so far, and I just wanted to yap about it a bit. That's it. So yeah.
You know what? On that note, it's a pretty sad. You know what? No, we're not gonna end that off on a sad note. We're actually going to try to send that off on a much better note. So I'm gonna find something else lastly that we're gonna watch today. And then we will go from there. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. I need it to be... Ew, why is an AC on my fucking thing? I need it to be not sad. I need it to be like... Give me something good, algorithm. Give me something that is not doggy doo-doo, pee-pee poo-poo, cringe. We're not watching that. You guys will you guys will never know what the fuck that was that I just said no to. Y'all will never know. Never. Ew. Okay, that's not surprising. Apparently, Nova Online's dad is also a predator, but that's not surprising to me. It's like the whole thing of like a tomato is a fruit. Like, all right, man. I can't be surprised anymore. I can't do it. Can't do it. Oh Lord. Anything? Fuck, man. I'm trying not to end it on that weird fucking note, but like, damn. Oh, I know what to do. Here, this is how we'll end it. This is how we'll end. Give me a second, I need to let it play. This is how. Here you go, guys. We need some serotonin. Here you go.
We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. Built this city. We built this city on rock and roll.
On that note, we're actually gonna raid out as well. So let's find somebody to raid out to. Okay, we're gonna raid out to Rai Hiruma. It's like he's doing Pokemon Legends ZA. There's gonna be a raid message. Be sure to copy and paste in the chat. It'll let me look at it. Thank you. Alright, thank you guys so much for coming into stream. I'll probably stream again Friday. We'll see what happens with it. But have a great rest of your week. Be nice, be respectful to people, be kind. Be nice, respectful to Rai, say hi, all that good stuff. And I can't wait to see you guys later. Bye.